Welcome, everybody, to the 2023 American League Division Series on FS1, presented by Booking.com. The familiar ruckus crowd at Minute Maid Park in Houston, where the reigning World Series champions get set to defend their title. The champions of the American League West, Houston Astros, square off with the AL Central champion, Minnesota Twins. Inside the broadcast booth, Adam Amin, surrounded by a couple of World Series champions, Adam Wainwright and A.J. Pierzynski. Adam, you were talking to me about this Minnesota Twins team. They finally snapped their long playoff losing streak. They win back-to-back games in tight, contested fashion against the Toronto Blue Jays to get here.
And they're excited, and they should be. Their fan base went crazy the other day for that big win, and they're here today. They have nothing to lose. They got a chip on their shoulder. They want to prove that they belong here, and I think they're ready for this challenge. Now,
you use the word dangerous to describe this Minnesota team, and you think the veterans are some of the reason why this team could be dangerous.
I love a couple of the core leaders on that team. You got Sonny Gray, you got Carlos Correa, two proven winners, guys who have been through it, but also they teamed up to make some incredible plays the other day that may have swayed that whole series.
Carlos Correa in particular, they wanted to bring him back to Minnesota because of high IQ plays like this and the athletic plays that he can bring.
This play should bring back shades of Derek Jeter. This was such a heady play and an incredible throw on the run. And then you got Sonny Gray right here. They teamed up right there. They had a plan going into that game that if they got into this situation, they knew exactly what to do, and he executed it perfectly.
And Carlos Correa, of course, an incredible playoff resume with these Houston Astros. Now he gets to face his former team in the postseason. Correa's obviously gone, but the core of this Houston Astro team that has been to several World Series and ALCSs, they're still here.
Well, the core four was the Yankees forever. Now it's the Houston Astros. Altuve, Bregman, Yordan Alvarez, and Kyle Tucker. The righties started off, but then these two lefties, they come in and clean them up. Yordan Alvarez, Kyle Tucker, two of the best hitters in all of baseball. They hit for power, they drive in big runs, and they get hits when the Houston Astros need them. Kyle Tucker led the league in RBIs this year. The first two get on base, and then the two lefties drive them in. It is an incredible way, if you're an opposing pitcher, to have to start any game.
And the Minnesota Twins are one of the best pitching staffs in all of baseball this year, but this is who Bailey Over will have to face to start off his playoff career in the big leagues. He gets the opportunity in Game 1. It is his playoff debut. What a juxtaposition, because you go to the other side, it's the former Astro back with the Astros, Justin Verlander. Only Andy Pettitte has made more starts in Major League Baseball playoff history. Tom Verducci is down on the field with more. Tom?
Thanks, Adam. Well, he has called it like my summer studying abroad. Justin Verlander pitched the first 4 months with the Mets before he was traded back to the Astros. Now today, at the age of 40, he's the third oldest pitcher to take the ball for a Game 1. It's his 13th Game 1 assignment, the most of all time. 6 of those for the Astros, in which he is undefeated. He is a true #1 starter, getting the ball again in Game #1. He is back home in a familiar place. Adam?
The Virginia native, the 9-time All-Star, the 2-time World Series winner, the 3-time Cy Young Award winner, including last season en route to a World Series with these Houston Astros. He once again takes the ball to start off a series in the postseason. Let's dive into Minnesota's offense. They were top 10 in all of Major League Baseball in scoring this year. This is their starting lineup, and it is sponsored by IBM. A rookie at the top in Edward Julian, a veteran of the Minnesota Twins organization, Jorge Polanco. Royce Lewis was one of the heroes against Toronto. Kepler and Kirilloff, a couple of lefties. There is Correa in the 6th spot. Matt Wallner, a rookie in left field. Ryan Jeffers was part of that incredible defensive play to pick off Vlad Guerrero in Game 2. And then Michael A. Taylor comes in a little bit cold, but has power out of that 9 spot and very good defense. Justin Verlander, AJ, gets the ball here in Game 1. Your thoughts?
Well, all the experience in the world, one of the best pitchers of a generation, going to the Hall of Fame. You see the strikeouts, the most all-time in postseason history. This is the guy the Houston Astros had. They lost him. They went back and got him for starts just like this.
Well, we know Justin Verlander has amazing stuff, always has. He at, what, 40 years old, still bringing the heat. Throws 50% four-seam fastballs. He's going to throw his slider 25% of the time, his curveball 20% of the time, and his changeup 5% of the time. But he's a guy who can make all those in any count, in any situation, and he's the ultimate pitcher and the ultimate big game pitcher. The Astros, I'm sure, love having him out there for game one.
And he'll go up against the rookie Eddie Julian. 1 for 6 in the American League Wild Card Series. He leads it off against Verlander, and away we go in Houston with the first pitch of game one. It's down low, and off we go at 3:45 local time at Minute Maid Park. Not sure what the delay was for. They had some issue out in left center field that the second base umpire and crew chief Bill Miller was pointing out. Back and ready to go for a 1-0 to Julian. 2-0.
Sometimes, no matter how experienced you are, this first hitter is getting the jitters out. You know, it just is. And he's been in this situation more than anyone in history almost. But, you know, the first couple pitches.
Home with a 2-0. And a big cut from Julian, 2-1.
One thing about Julian that you need to watch is he's a high walk, high strikeout, and power guy. He hits at the top of the order because he gets on base, but he will punch out a ton.
A 2-1. On the ground towards first, hugging the line and foul. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Let's take a look at today's same game parlay, sponsored by FanDuel. Correa and Bregman right in the thick of things. We expect that to be the case throughout this series. Former teammates that played on that left side together.
Watch out for left field here with Julian. He can really drive the ball to left field. He's dangerous over there.
16 home runs this season as a rookie. There's a 2-2. You mentioned it, AJ. He's a high strikeout guy, but rarely does he chase. He's got one of the lowest chase rates in all of baseball. Verlander, of course, one of the great strikeout pitchers ever. But that was one of the issues for Minnesota's offense this year. A lot of home run power, but they had the most strikeouts in all of baseball. And the Astros staff, much like the Twins staff, is one of the best swing and miss staffs in all the game.
And he was second in all of baseball in walk percentage.
And there's the walk to start it off for Minnesota. They've got their leadoff man aboard. Astros defensively, middle of the pack in most metrics and categories this year. Michael Brantley did start 3 of the final 4 games in left field. Chas McCormick makes the start in center over Mauricio Dubon. That's usually the case. Dubon is in center when Verlander's out there. Tucker in right. Bregman, Pena, Altuve, and Abreu. And of course, Martin Maldonado, despite the light hitting, is behind the plate due to his game calling and his veteran leadership. And he steals a strike at the bottom of the zone against Polanco.
Both Adams. Another good thing to be on the lookout for is Justin Verlander has a 6 ERA in the first inning, and in a bigger moment, leadoff walk, it only gets amplified here and magnified by the postseason. First time out, had a week off.
A lot of your really good pitchers out there, if you're going to get them, you better get them early. You better get them in that first or second inning until if they settle in, you could be in for a long one.
1-1, and a breaking ball is lined into right field for a base hit. Polanco's aboard. Julian takes a big turn. The throw behind him, but he was able to scramble back in time. And the first 2 Twins are aboard for Royce Lewis, who is one of the heroes in the wild card series.
A hanging breaking ball. Hanging breaking ball. Polanco just gets it up, rips this ball into right field. I thought Julian was going to think about it, but Tucker's arm is too good. Julian thought about it, took a big turn, shuts it down smartly because he probably would have been out.
So now here's Lewis. RBI opportunity early. What a story he's been since August the 23rd. 4 grand slams. Obviously 2 men on base here. He took a home run cut right there. In his first 2 postseason plate appearances, hit home runs. In that series against Toronto. accounted for all 3 runs in that 3-1 Game 1 victory to help snap that 18-game postseason losing streak. A guy who was the #1 pick back in 2017 has dealt with multiple ACL injuries, comes into the postseason with a nagging left hamstring injury. He didn't play for the final week plus of the season after Minnesota had clinched the AL Central. He is not running at 100% just yet. But he's ahead of the count, 2 balls and a strike with 2 men on base to start.
And Wayno, do you see the same thing I see? Verlander doesn't look comfortable. He's kind of twitching around. He's not getting the ball and throwing it. There's a lot of walking around, a lot of moving around. It's usually the sign you're not feeling exactly what you are supposed to feel like.
Yeah, and he's going to have to figure out these breaking balls. And sometimes that happens in the second, third innings and not in the first. But you can tell he's not comfortable with his command on any of those breaking balls just yet, slider or curveball.
There's a 2-1. Foul back in our direction, and it's 2-2 on Lewis.
Good thing about his stuff, though, I mean, you know, having 2 great breaking balls like he has, different shapes, different speeds, usually one of those is going to fall into place really soon. So a guy like him, he's going to fall. I mean, he's going to get it worked out here in just a second. I guarantee it.
Let's see if he goes to the slider. That was his best put-away pitch this season. 2 on, 2 out. Goes with the fastball, bounce to short, glove by Pena. Altuve the relay, double play. 2 down, on to third goes Julian.
Just what the doctor ordered, Dr. Verlander. A 2-hopper right to Pena, perfect flip to Altuve. Easy turn. Royce Lewis not running 100%. It made it much easier on the Astros. After the first 2 hitters reaching for the Twins, though, Wayno, a double play gets him 2 outs and a chance to steal this inning.
Yeah, and you just don't know what to look for him, and he's still got the velo to get it past you.
Here's Kepler. And there's the fastball high. You mentioned the velo for Verlander. He had his highest fastball velocity in his final start of the season. That came against Arizona in a must-win game. Facing the lefty Kepler, who's had a resurgent season after what has essentially turned out to be a 2.5-year slump.
I don't know if he always does this, but notice he's pitching out of the windup with the runner on third. You could tell maybe it was out of the stretch where he wasn't feeling very comfortable. Maybe he's going back to the windup. He might do this every time there's a run on third.
We were talking about this. He had 1 pitch clock violation. It was late in the year while he was working out of the windup with J.P. Crawford of Seattle on third base. You can see him paying attention to Julian. The 2-0. Inside, according to home plate umpire Brian Knight. 3-0 on Kepler with Kirilloff waiting on deck.
The ball's inside. Curveball 2-0, though, to me is an interesting choice. What you said, Wayno, he's having a hard time finding his breaking ball. To go after Kepler, that shows you have some respect for him.
3-0. No swing, and it's ball 4. More balls than strikes thrown in this inning by Verlander. 11 out of the zone, just 7 strikes. But he'll now face Kirilloff to try to finish off this inning. And he probably wants to finish off this inning here with Correa on deck.
I like that. I mean, the 2-0 curveball to me doesn't bother me much. Kepler's a very good fastball hitter, struggles with the curveball. In that situation, 2-0, you know you got some bases open. You know, he's probably one of the better hitters in that lineup. You're going to throw the pitch that you think he's going to struggle the most with in that situation. And whether you've been kind of struggling with it or not to that point, you know, he still has belief in his own self to come through on that pitch. But also, he knows that that's not what Kepler's looking for.
Right.
Kepler was also 1 for 23 off Justin Verlander.
With 10 strikeouts.
Well, then never mind.
Exactly. Sometimes you might outsmart yourself.
Kepler the worst numbers of any Twin against Verlander in the lineup. Here's Kirilloff, and a high fastball is out of the zone. It's been a very productive platoon at first base between Kirilloff and Donovan Solano. Joey Gallo started the season at first base, had a very rocky year on his 1-year deal with Minnesota, not on the ALDS roster. Kirilloff swings and fouls it away. It's 1-1. Rocco Baldelli, 42 years of age, from Rhode Island, has faith in this team, has faith in this pitching staff, and believes there's enough here to make a push against the reigning world champs. A 1-1. 2 balls and a strike. Verlander behind again.
Just cannot find the command. The stuff is there. The ball's breaking. It's just not where he wants it to go.
First and third, 2 outs in the opening inning of the series. Twins trying to strike first. And Kirilloff fouls it at the plate. A chance for Verlander to get out of this jam.
Two different sliders. That one starts as a ball. You see Kirilloff lays off it. This one starts more of a strike, and that's why he gets a swing. He's got to start it as a strike to get him to swing. If he starts it as a ball, the Twins will not chase. They pick lanes, and they stay in their lane most of the time.
Back up the middle. Pena's there. And Verlander shakes out of the jam in the first. Astros, yet again, despite injuries, despite some up and down seasons by some of their stars, they still finished top 5 in baseball at over 5 runs per game. This is their starting lineup, sponsored by IBM, and so many familiar names. Altuve, Bregman, Alvarez, and Tucker. Abreu, the new addition this season. Brantley is back from the shoulder injury. McCormick had a career year. Pena was last year's ALCS and World Series MVP, and Maldonado will round it out against Bailey Ober. What a moment for the 6'9", 260-pound, 28-year-old from North Carolina, his postseason debut, Waino.
This guy's an absolute monster. I was walking next to him yesterday and talking to him for a while. I can't wait to watch this guy pitch. He's so unique. He's coming at an angle that not many hitters have seen, and these guys have not faced him for 2 years. So this could be a good move by Minnesota, starting him game 1.
Pablo Lopez and Sonny Gray, their aces, got them through the wild card series. Ober deals to Altuve, who launches the first pitch deep to left field. A familiar sight. 1-0 to the Crawford boxes. Bregman takes ball one. He's as good as anybody on the first pitch. He's as good as anybody in the playoffs. He's as good as anybody in the first inning. Altuve makes it 1-0 Astros, as he has so many times before. 1-1 on Bregman.
And the first pitch is so dangerous to him because you're making your first postseason start. You're Bailey over. You're thinking, all right, I'm just going to get ahead. I'm going to throw a fastball up. You don't want to throw it in, though. He threw it in. Altuve says, I don't care, Wayno, I've never seen him. I'm taking him up off the train tracks up there in left field. So it doesn't matter with Jose Altuve. He's always ready for a fastball. He's always ready first pitch for a ball in. He got it from Bailey over, and it's 1-0 Astros.
It's the second time he's homered off of Ober. Bregman fouls one down the left field line. Wayno, you talked about it. It was 2 years since Ober saw the Astros, but the last time they saw him, Altuve did something very similar. A shot inside, pulled down the left field line.
Yeah, and I think, you know, just matchup wise, Altuve likes the ball up. He likes the ball thigh high and up, and that's how Ober pitches. Ober pitches at the top of the zone. I guarantee you they talked about throwing maybe an off-speed pitch for the first pitch, and then he went, nah, let's go ahead and get this one over. But you know what? You can't throw it. You cannot throw it high enough to Altuve sometimes. You got to pitch down to that guy.
Payoff to Bregman is lifted in the air to left. Out is Correa. In is Wallner. It'll be Correa for out number one. Down to Tom Verducci with Altuve.
Thanks, Al. Jose, tell me what you're thinking as you take your walk to the home plate for the first at bat.
Yeah, I'm thinking get a good pitch to hit. You know, if I get on base, I got great hitters behind me. I got Breggy and Alvarez, Tucker, you know, probably the best three hitters I ever played with. And just, you know, get a good pitch to hit.
Surprised that you did get a fastball to hit first pitch?
You know, I think sometimes I get it. Sometimes they start with another pitch, but I got to be ready for, you know, I'm ready for location, something I can handle. And, you know, I think that was a great pitch to hit.
Jose, thank you.
Thank you.
Exactly what you guys were talking about. He likes a very specific location that you cannot throw it to, and that time Ober did, as Alvarez swings and misses, nothing ensued.
And also don't forget, when we talked to him before the game today, what do we talk about? First pitch.
Yep.
Wayno's like, man, you owned me in spring training. I was like, yeah, because you're throwing fastballs first pitch.
Alvarez with a big cut, and Ober settles in with a strikeout. 2 down here in the first.
Yeah, and if you're Ober right there, you give up the leadoff homer. All right, so what? Let's go. We're starting over right here. They got one. I'm going to keep him right there. I'm going to make my pitches. Just execute one after one after one. Don't get too far ahead of yourself, and don't start panicking. It's all about the next pitch.
And what a difference a year makes also for Jose Altuve.
Yeah.
0 for 13 or 0 for 16 in the DS last year.
He didn't have a single playoff RBI last year. He has one now, and now Tucker is looking for extra bases. Play at second, close play, he's safe. Rocco Baldelli considering a challenge. He's going to opt against it as Tucker, like Altuve, gets an extra base hit on the first pitch. Close play at second with Correa applying the tag. He's in.
Good slide by Tucker. Slides inside. We showed the home run on the first pitch fastball from Altuve. The next 3 hitters, he's gone off speed. Tucker, smart hitter, sitting there watching the last 2 hitters. He gets a first pitch off speed, hits it down the line for a double.
Jose Abreu takes ball 1. Abreu has seen a lot of the Minnesota Twins going back to his long tenure with the Chicago White Sox. He won AL MVP in 2020, his first year with Houston. Had a tough season this year overall. Career lows across the board for the most part for Abreu, but he really heated up in the final month of the season. Dusty Baker, going back to midsummer, was bullish about how important Abreu is to this team and how much trust he has in the veteran. He lifts a 1-1 into center field, on the infield rather. It'll be the second baseman Julian with the catch to end the inning. Leaves a man in scoring position, but the first pitch that Bailey overthrows in his playoff career, Jose Altuve does what he's done several times in his playoff career, his 24th career playoff homer. He returns for playoff baseball in Houston. It's Carlos Correa leading it off for the Twins in the second. Against his old teammate Justin Verlander, and a ball down and away to Correa. 29-year-old was drafted when he was 17 by Houston with the #1 pick. Debuted in June of 2015. Was the Rookie of the Year. 2 All-Star nods with the Astros. Won a World Series in 2017. Was a Gold Glover. And delivered big moment after big moment in his postseason career with the Astros. Left after the 21 season. Signed a deal with Minnesota. Opted out. Signed with the Giants seemingly. Signed with the Mets seemingly. Physical issues. Went back to Minnesota. It hasn't been a typical Correa year dealing with plantar fasciitis. It hasn't been his typical offensive season, but he is one of the leaders on this team, and they're going to look to him throughout this series. Here's a 2-1.
Ball low.
3 balls and a strike to Correa.
I was real interested to see what kind of reception he was going to get here. I know he's played in Houston before, but playoffs are a different animal. It wasn't the warm and fuzzy. There were some sprinkled in boos
More
there.
boos, yeah.
When they first announced the starting lineups, it was a little bit more positive, but now that the game has started and the Astros have a 1-0 lead, you're right, AJ, it was a little more lukewarm. A 3-1. Back up the middle. Altuve to his right. Can't get it, nor can Pena. Correa takes a big turn, but he'll stay at first base with a leadoff single.
I think this ball hit the base, Adam.
Did it hit the base?
It looked like, because they were both ready to get it. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it did.
then it shoots to the Altuve's right, and then you see Pena almost hits Pena in the face. But yeah, this ball, we talk about, you know what, you're going good, you hit the base, and then you get a knock.
Here's Matt Wallner, the rookie, local product from Minnesota. He goes around, according to third base umpire Jansen Visconti.
That's a good thing for Verlander right there, because he's just got to start getting strike 1 over. He's got to start working ahead of these great hitters. And in the postseason, you can't afford to walk people. You can't give free passes. You can't get into bad counts against these great hitters. He's fallen behind 5 out of the last 6 hitters. I mean, this is it's not a typical Verlander start, but like I said, if they're not going to score off him early when he's struggling, it's going to be tough.
And wasted opportunity in that first inning when they had a couple on base, a double play, and a couple left stranded. Here's our umpiring crew. Bill Miller's the crew chief at the second base bag, and Brian Knight calling balls and strikes in this first one. Of course, in the postseason, a 6 umpire formation.
See if Verlander doesn't go to the fastball in right here. Wallner's a little bit susceptible to that ride back fastball in. It's wide open if you can make it.
0-2. On the ground, it is caught by Abreu. Smart base running by Correa as he made sure not to go too far off the bag. A lunging play for out number 1 by Jose Abreu.
Well, the thing that saved Correa was his ball wasn't hit very hard. Abreu has to go to his right, not hit very hard. Correa can read that right away. He has to freeze, makes the right read. And Abreu, because notice how Carlos Correa is a little bit backed up from Abreu. Abreu can't just reach and tag him. He would have to dive to him. So good base running right there by Carlos Correa.
So 1 down, and here's Ryan Jeffers. Minnesota catcher had his best offensive run, tied his career high with 14 home runs, and his OPS excellent. Minnesota was 13-0 when Jeffers hit a home run this season. It was a good power year once again for the Twins. Top 4 in Major League Baseball in home runs, top 10 in scoring. And again, Verlander behind another hitter.
Wayno, you mentioned his breaking ball not finding. He threw 13 in the first inning, 9 for balls.
Gets a slider in for a strike that time.
And it's a strike. It's still not where he wants it, right? Like you said earlier. I mean, he's got to start it where those hitters' eyes light up. You want their eyes to light up on those off-speed pitches that they want to swing right away, but then you want it to be down. You don't want that thing staying up.
Line drive through the hole into left field, a base hit. To your point, guys, exactly the type of pitch that Verlander's trying to avoid. It's a single for Jeffers. Correa into scoring position with only 1 out.
This is what we're talking about. You watch where Maldonado's glove is. It's there. Now watch where this ball ends up to Jeffers.
And Jeffers is an up-out over hitter. That's a dangerous pitch, especially with the left field porch here in Houston.
But that's what we're talking about, missing location, especially with the breaking ball. And if you're going to throw a breaking ball, you don't want to miss up.
Michael A. Taylor to short. Could be 2 again. Pena, Altuve, Abreu. Back-to-back innings with a double play behind Verlander. And the Twins unable to get anything done with the traffic on the base paths.
Just heaters in the middle of the plate.
Yeah, fastball for the first, and I think he got him on the first fastball. Welcome back to the 2023 American League Division Series on FS1, presented by Booking.com. Justin Verlander getting out of jams for his manager Dusty Baker, who got his first World Series last year. And one of his best hitters is at the plate. Michael Brantley only played in 15 games down the stretch at the end of the season after a 14-month absence due to that right shoulder injury, which kept him out of the postseason last year. Tapper in front of the plate. Jeffers has it, and he retires Brantley to start off this bottom of the second.
Good play by Jeffers. Normally like to see a catcher kind of go inside and spin, but he had enough time to go around it, square it up, make a nice throw to get Brantley out. Normally you want to go inside on this ball, but he rounds it, gets his feet set, makes a perfect throw. That play's not as easy as he made that look.
McCormick takes ball 1. Career season for Chas McCormick. He has faced Bailey Ober twice, has homered and doubled off of him in his career a couple of years ago. And he lifts this one the other way. Pretty well struck, but playable. Kepler's there, and there are 2 down. Nice quick start to this second inning for Bailey Ober.
Ober's going to offset that fastball that he likes to ride at the top of the zone with that really good changeup. He was on my scouting tape a lot this year. This guy attacks the zone, and he attacks it up in the upper part of the zone, which hitters don't see a whole lot of, especially consistently as many times as he does it. But he'll throw that changeup up there too effectively also. It's funky, man. He's so tall, and he's such a big human, but he still comes at kind of a funky angle.
Here's Jeremy Pena, last year's playoff hero. Been a lot of talk about a decline for Pena, who was ALCS and World Series MVP at just 25 years of age last season. But his numbers in the regular season this year are almost identical. His defense, the metrics have declined a little bit, but Dusty Baker says this guy makes big plays all the time. The one thing that has been missing this year has been the power. Pena has hit just 10 home runs and none in the last 3 months. July the 5th was his last home run. What did Dusty Baker say before we got on the air today?
It's October. It's his time. It's amazing, though. He went after the All-Star break, no home runs the entire second half for guys big and strong as Jeremy Pena is.
The 2-1 hard hit ball back up the middle into center field. A 2-out knock for Pena, and it must be October again. He is aboard with 2 down here in the second for Martin Maldonado.
You know, I know that's only a single, but that's a big single. It clears Maldonado. Maldonado hits under 200. That's a solid base hit for Pena to start the postseason. He's thinking to himself, I'm back. He used to say here in Houston it was Carlos Correa time. Well, right now in the postseason it is Jeremy Pena time. And again, it clears Maldonado. So guess what? If Maldonado makes an out here, you have Jose Altuve leading off again.
Here is Maldonado. First pitch swinging on that fastball, and he fouls it back. That looked like Waino in his last at bat.
Don't bring that about up.
No.
You took before, though.
Dusty was very complimentary of you, by the way, in the swings you took in your final AB.
How great is Dusty? Sitting around, he's like a cartoon character. He's got the wristbands on, and remember he used to wear that glove. Is he still wearing the gloves? He's got the gloves off now. And
still got that toothpick.
He's got so many skits that he does.
In the air to left. Playable for Wallner. That should retire the side. And it does for Ober. A nice bounce back inning. Leaves a man stranded. Both pitchers one time through the order through 2 innings. It's 1-0 Houston. Wear what the players are wearing on field during the postseason. Check out the largest selection of authentic jerseys, caps, t-shirts, maybe space helmets, and fake hair, and more at MLBshop.com. Back to the top of the order. Edward Julian leads it off. He walked to begin the game against Verlander. A lot of traffic in the first 2 innings for Minnesota. Justin Verlander made 11 starts for Houston after coming over from the Mets. He had 2 double plays induced that entire run. He had a double play in each of the first 2 innings of this contest to get him out of trouble. And now it gets hard for Minnesota because Verlander typically gets better as he gets more comfortable.
Especially after the first inning. Like I said, he had a 6 ERA. It's goes way down after that.
This guy is such a champion, and as the game goes, it gets more and more dangerous.
Hard hit ball by Julian towards the gap in left center field, and that's off the wall. Looking for extra bases, and the rookie will cruise into second. Going the opposite field on 2 strikes to get into scoring position. What a shot by Julian.
Some of his better swings on tape that I watched were all to left field. This guy can really drive it over there. We talked about it earlier. And I think Justin just tried to sink that ball in on him a little bit and just left it out over. But that's exactly what he's wanting to drive to left field right there. Middle out over.
Well, here's my question. 3 fastballs in a row. He took the first 2 and you throw a third one. He's hitting under 100 in the last 3 months on off speed. Why would you challenge him with 3 straight? He took 2 of them for you. Why are you trying for the third one?
Now he's in scoring position for Polanco, and that one came way inside. Polanco had to bail out. It's 1-0. The leadoff man has been on against Justin Verlander in each of the 3 innings thus far.
Maybe he's thinking, you know what? They'll never expect it right down the middle.
It's so crazy, it just might work.
Until it doesn't.
Exactly.
Until he hits it off the waste management sign in left center field for leadoff double.
Here's a 1-0. Hide away 2-0.
The one thing we've talked about how Justin Verlander doesn't look comfortable, well, especially out of the stretch for me. He's so worried about the runners, and there's a huge thing about the Astros, how they don't hold runners. Guys have been running wild on him the entire year. He's not getting his head back around.
Polanco inside, and he cranked it foul. 2-1.
Runner on second. Justin Verlander's not getting his head around. Watch when he picks his leg up. He will still be looking at the runner on second before he turns his head to pitch. So that he just doesn't look right.
Home with a 2-1.
Watch his leg work right here. This is something that the other teams are keying in on. Maybe the reason they're running on him a little bit more, he's got a little knee wobble that he does before he starts his hand work. And so you're not going off his hands or his head or his anything. As soon as you see this knee move, then you go.
Joe, John, Ken, thanks so much. We welcome those of you who just watched the Texas Rangers go on the road against the #1 seed and take down the Orioles for a 1-0 series lead. We're in Houston at Minute Maid Park, where the reigning World Series champion Houston Astros have a 1-0 lead on the AL Central champs Minnesota Twins. Twins have had traffic in every inning against Justin Verlander. 2 double plays in the first 2 frames to get out of those jams. Big cut by Polanco, and after being down 3-1 in the count, Verlander comes back with his first strikeout of the day. Adam Amin, AJ Pierzynski, Adam Wainwright, Tom Verducci with you. Here's what you missed so far. Verlander got out of the jam in the first, and then Jose Altuve came up against Bailey Ober, making his postseason debut, cranked the first pitch he saw into left field for a 1-0 lead. Those 2 double plays, huge to get out of the first 2 innings. This third frame started off with an Edward Julian double to left center. Polanco just struck out, and now Royce Lewis is ahead of the count 1-0. Verlander has been behind most of the hitters that he has faced thus far, but has been getting out of those jams. Lewis takes a breaking ball strike, and it's 1-1.
A lot of breaking balls from Justin Verlander. He tried the 3 fastballs to Edward Julian, and he hit one off the left center field wall. And since then, 3-1 to Polanco, breaking ball. 3-2 to Polanco, breaking ball for the strikeout. And then he's thrown Lewis 2 breaking balls. I don't think that he trusts his fastball at this point yet.
Those last 4 breaking balls, though, very sharp.
Outside.
Just missed with that curveball. Close pitch does not go Verlander's way. Good take by Lewis.
He got the 3-1 slider to Polanco, swing and strike. Is probably his best slider of the day. And then the 3-2 curveball, probably his best curveball of the day, strike 3. And then he came back with a good slider, good curveball right there. So he might be settling in with that off-speed stuff.
Here's a 2-1. Breaking ball on the ground to third. Nice pick by Bregman, and they've got Julian caught in a rundown. The lead runner is retired for out number 2. Fielder's choice for Lewis. Bregman with a nice pick and heads-up play to get the lead runner in scoring position. The Twins are 0 for 5 with men in scoring position now.
And terrible base running right here by Julian. I don't know where he's going. Maybe he thought there was 2 outs. I don't know. But even if this ball gets through the infield, he's not scoring on this ball. So you have to make this ball go through. And you know Lewis, now with Lewis on first, he's going to take 3 hits with his bad hamstring to score him.
He looked like he thought there was 2 outs right there, didn't he? Now this is where it comes in. Well, not with Lewis on first, but normally with good speed out there, this is where that knee thing I was talking about. Watch, he's got a little waggle with his back knee before he goes.
Starts off Kepler with a strike.
It doesn't have to be much. If it adds 0.2 of a second, you're talking the difference in a strike in a stolen base and a caught stealing.
Tom Verducci asked Verlander yesterday about some of the adjustments mechanically he had made. He was working on his footwork. High fastball. Maldonado keeping an eye out at Lewis at first base. Again, not running at 100% just yet with that nagging left hamstring injury as Lewis at first.
Well, that's why the base running by Julian was so big. Because with Lewis with the hamstring, he can't steal. He's not going to steal. Rocco Baldelli said he tells him not even to run full speed. And then you have a runner in scoring position if you're Julian, but instead now you have Lewis on first, and he's going to take probably at least 2 hits to score him.
And now Verlander a strike away from getting out of yet another inning when the leadoff man reached. A 1-2. In the dirt, Maldonado's there.
The fastball up, perfectly located the pitch before. Now he throws the curveball down. He's going to go. If I had to bet, I guarantee he goes back fastball up again right here. Kepler struggles on the ball up anyways, but that's where he makes his money, man. That 4-seam up from Justin Verlander has been a moneymaker for years and years. See, just told him he's scooting off the plate a little bit. He's cheating in.
A 2-2. Kepler reaches out, pokes it down the left field line.
Yeah, see, that's good catching right there. That's a veteran catcher telling his veteran pitcher, hey, pay attention. This guy just moved off the plate. He was thinking like I was thinking. He goes, all right, he's going to try to dot that fastball up and in again. And they saw him move off the plate. They go change up down the way. That's a good sequence right there.
And that's a pitch Justin's thrown a lot more since he's come over to Houston.
Because of the man behind the plate who knows him so well, Martin Maldonado. 2-2 delivery. Got him. For those of you watching on MLB Network and FS2, switch on over to FS1. We'll have the rest of Game 1. Jose Altuve, who homered in the first to give the Astros the lead, will lead it off in the bottom of the third. It's Game 1 of the 2023 American League Division Series. This time Jose Altuve takes a changeup strike after he took a first pitch fastball in the first inning and launched it to the Crawford boxes. His 13th career leadoff homer on the first pitch. This one is hooked foul, and it's quickly 0-2 on Altuve.
I always wondered, Wayne, we talk about it. You give up a first pitch fastball home run to a guy, then he threw him 2 changeups in a row. As a pitcher, are you just not going to throw him another fastball?
No. A lot of times when you go back to the same pitch they hit out, a lot of times hitters aren't ready for it.
That one muscled into short center field. The second baseman Julian backs up to retire his counterpart. So Bailey Ober closing in on 30 pitches. He's just started the second time through the order. Kenta Maeda, who's been a starter most of the year, is loosening up already. If we had to have guessed, it would have been Maeda the first man out for long relief. Obviously they've got quality depth with Maeda, who's been a starter. Here's Bregman.
Did you notice the fly ball that Altuve just hit? The pitch that he hit to center right there is not much different than the pitch he hit out, but Ober had slowed him down with the 2 changeups before that, so it allowed him to get away with the heater.
Ooh, that one slipped down. That slider got a piece of Bregman, and he is aboard with one away.
When we talked to Rocco Baldelli before the game, we asked him about Bailey Ober. What are you looking for out of him? Is he going to give you length? And he didn't say it, and I asked him. You're right, Wayno. This is about the same pitch. That's the home run.
Man, that's almost identical.
Just jammed and broke his back.
Yeah, it's because he had him leaning out over. He had him slowed down. That's pitching, man. That's all. That's everything about pitching.
Here's Alvarez.
When we asked Rocco Baldelli, I said, is Maeda first out? He goes, well, I don't want to tell you who the first guy is going to be, but I said, well, again, what are you looking for? How many innings? And he said, he kind of looked and was like, 3, 4. Well, here we are in the third, and Maeda's up, ready, getting ready. That's
Alvarez launches, and Yordan Alvarez's postseason success continues. 3-0 Astros. He almost single-handedly won the division series last year against Seattle. And he has given Houston a 3-0 lead on Ober and the Twins here in the third as Kyle Tucker takes ball 1.
One too many changeups. We've been talking about him throwing changeups. First at bat to Alvarez, changeups early in the count, blew him away with 2 strikes. Strike him out. Changeup right there. Alvarez does not miss it. That ball was smush.
Didn't it look like he was timed up for that? He was just on his heels waiting for that changeup that whole at bat, wasn't he?
He was 100%. He's smart. See the grip? It's up right down the middle. And Alvarez knew it as soon as he let the bat go.
Yeah, he did.
Tucker ahead of the count, flips it foul, 2-1. That's middle basically on a changeup. Yeah. That's the wheelhouse of Yordan Alvarez, a powerful swing. Down the right field line, hooked foul.
And I'll tell you, he hits the changeup well.
Yeah, he hits just about every pitch well.
But he hits a changeup and a slider really well. He struggles with a curveball a little bit. And that's probably his weakest pitch. But he hits that changeup really, really well. If you got to throw the fastball, you got to elevate it like he did that first at bat.
Oh no!
And you look at Yordan's numbers against most pitches. You mentioned the curveball being kind of the outlier, but he's got the best slugging percentage against non-fastballs the last 2 years in this game. And this is with him having a tougher season this year dealing with injury. Payoff pitch to Tucker. Oh, nice pitch. A changeup that time by Ober had Tucker out in front. And he gets his second strikeout.
A lot of changeups from Ober.
Yeah.
A lot of off-speed pitches, a lot of changeups. And these Astros are veteran guys. We showed the graphics on how many games the first 4 hitters had in the postseason. That's a good changeup. And the reason that changeup is good, it was in. So Tucker sees it out of the hand and he's thinking, oh, fastball in. Now, he didn't mean to throw it there, but it's effective if you can do it.
Here's Abreu taking strike 1 on a fastball.
But these Astros hitters, they talk, right? They talk about what they're seeing, how he's pitching them. Alex Cintron, their hitting coach, they're in there talking about these things. And every at bat, they come in and say, all right, what did he throw you? He threw me changeup, curveball. You see Alvarez like, making hand motions. These guys are talking constantly because they've been together for so long.
There's Alex Cintron. He and Troy Snitker, Jason Kansman. This is a very good hitting staff. Again, another strong season. Top 5 in OPS and the 3rd fewest strikeouts in baseball. Ober spikes a slider. It's 1-2.
And I would be absolutely shocked if Bailey Ober isn't done after this inning.
Yep.
With Maeda hot, he's a starter. It just all adds up.
Yep.
To Kenta Maeda being in after this hitter, or after this inning is finished. Sorry.
Kenta with a lot of playoff experience too. He's really nasty out of the bullpen too.
Yep.
But you also, him being a starter for most of the year, you don't like getting him up, getting him hot, and then not putting him in the game.
Yeah.
You don't want to have him get up, get hot, and then sit.
A 1-2. And slider tails away from Abreu. Bailey Ober, one of the tallest starting pitchers in postseason history at 6'9". Shuttled between AAA and the big leagues this year. Jams Abreu, hits one on the ground to third for Polanco. That'll retire the side, but not before another Astros home run. And another one off the bat of a familiar face. Altuve in the first, Alvarez in the third.
Rocco Baldelli, Rocco Verlander giving you guys 53% breaking balls. You've had traffic. What do you need to do to break through?
Yeah, I've been pleased with our at-bats so far. We've had guys out there. We've had some good swings. We've had some good at-bats as a whole. We just haven't been able to get the hit when the guys are, standing in scoring position. But overall, if we can continue that, I think we'll be in a good spot.
Rocco, you have a few young players playing in their first road postseason game. I don't see a lot of young guys bouncing around the room. What do you see?
You know what? I see some guys that are pretty comfortable and relaxed. Like I said, in general, they've handled everything great to this point. Regular season, the first series that we played, it is different at from being at home on the road right now. This environment will get loud, but truthfully, they've been very good all the way around.
Rocco, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Tom. Alex Kirilloff flips one out to short right. Altuve is there to retire Kirilloff. One away here in the fourth. That'll bring up Correa. And Rocco made the point. The swings are good. There's some hard-hit balls off of Verlander, but a lot of them are getting punched to the ground, and some really good defense behind him on the infield.
Well, just the 2 double plays kill you. First and second, no outs. Royce Lewis, who was the hottest guy on the planet, and he hits into a double play, and then the next inning you get another double play, and that's something Verlander hasn't done. He's more of a fly ball guy.
Ooh, he fools Correa with a curveball.
Correa's a guy that you have to pitch in sometimes. You can't let him hang out over the plate. He gets too comfortable out there. He can really drive a ball. Justin knows that. He's played with him for a while, so he knows that.
0-1 to Correa. Busted him inside with that fastball, Wayno.
What was I saying? Justin knows, man. This guy's a brilliant pitcher. He really understands the game. He understands what the hitter's trying to accomplish. He's very prepared when he goes out there, and he knows his game too. So it all matches up really well when he gets out there.
So would you go in or would you go breaking ball here?
Well, you've got him sped up in now. You can do either. You got to keep chasing him in, or you can get him down and away.
Maldonado sets up away. Yeah, that's where it lands, but out of the zone. 1-2.
I would have gone in.
Yeah, you definitely would have gotten the strikeout when you go in out of there.
I will say this, though. That was probably the tightest, sharpest slider that Verlander has thrown through three plus innings so far.
He gets that about 3-4 more inches towards the plate. That's a swing and miss.
1-2. There's the fastball, just low. And at the end of that last inning, we saw his best curveballs probably of this start. He got a couple of strikeouts to end the third on a couple of curves.
Well, he wanted both those pitches. Maldonado definitely. Those are 2 sliders that were thrown about as good as you could get. And Correa spit on both of them.
Spit on those sliders down and away. Sometimes it's a good time to go heater down and away.
Goes off speed. It's lined Altuve. 2 up and 2 down. He gets through Kirilloff and Correa, and there's still nobody on in the fourth.
So he did something interesting right there. Mike Maddox, the old pitching coach, used to call it fish hooking him. So he'd throw him sliders, and then he throws him the curveball, which is slower, and the Correa was a little bit out front. Mike Maddox was a big proponent of doing that. Those sliders and throw a slower breaking ball behind it and get guys out front and get them to hit weak contact like Correa.
Wallner takes a big curveball for a strike. That curve is starting to look much sharper now for Verlander. Now it's 4 straight batters that he's thrown strike 1 to after he was getting behind most of the batters the first time through the order.
In strike 1 breaking balls, you don't always need them to be bangers, right? They just need to be strikes.
There's another breaking ball strike, another slider, 0-2.
If you go up against Justin Verlander and you're sitting curveball, I'd be very, very surprised. So you throw a strike curveball, it pops out of his hand, you're going to back off right away almost all the time. So strike curveballs, they don't need to be hanging at the bottom of the zone for strike 1. Now, after the first pitch, maybe so, but not that first one.
Chance for his first 1-2-3 inning of the day in the fourth. 0-2 to Wallner. Ten pitches in a perfect fourth. So Minnesota, which had a fabulous effort from their bullpen in the 2 games against Toronto, will turn to their bullpen here after Bailey Ober in his playoff debut gives up 2 big swings. The Altuve solo shot in the first, the 2-run home run to Alvarez in the third. He's done after 43 pitches. Maeda, a starter all season, but this is a spot he's familiar with. He was often a reliever in the postseason with the Dodgers, and that's the role he's playing with the Twins.
Outside.
He'll deal with Brantley to start off this bottom of the 4th. The big pitch from Maeda, that's splitter.
Well, splitter slider. He's definitely not a power pitcher. He's a strikeout guy, weak contact guy with off-speed pitches. But this is the script Rocco Baldelli had.
Slicer from Brantley the other way. How many times have you seen that in Brantley's career? Just takes one the other way and serves it to left. He's aboard to lead off the 4th.
This is what he does. He's a professional hitter. That's why he's in the lineup. Just gets a ball out over the plate and just splits where the shortstop normally would stand. The Twins had a mini shift on and just a line drive. Look at that, right where the shortstop was for 150 years until they moved him over. But okay, so when we talk again, we talked to Rocco Baldelli. He said, well, Ober's going to give us as much as he can. Remember, he's like, well, if we get to the 4th, I'm not going to tell you who's coming in. But you can kind of read the room and know Maeda's probably his first choice to come in. Scripted games in the playoffs we saw it with Toronto when Minnesota beat Toronto. Jose Barrios 47 pitches. See ya. Hadn't given up anything. Now Ober gave up 3. I get it.
0-1 to McCormick's outside.
It's just so hard to all the time. And listen, they might not have talked about it. Might have been something they said, hey, Maeda's coming in the 4th, right? Or whenever it's his turn. But gosh, you want to the team. I still am a big believer. And Wayne, tell me if I'm wrong. The team with the best starting pitching usually wins the series.
Bouncing ball left side, charging Polanco. Only has 1 play to get McCormick at first. Brantley's in a scoring position with 1 down.
No, you're not wrong. I mean, that's the key to baseball, right? I mean, I think all managers would tell you that they would love to have great starting pitching. And you know, I'd like to see our starting pitchers at the younger levels, at the A-ball, AA, AAA levels. I'd like to see those guys taking the ball, expecting to go deeper in the game also. You know, that you have to set that expectation early on in your career so that you can live up to it later. You have to learn how to get through those late innings, and then you have to learn how to do it so then you can earn to do it.
There's Jeremy Pena, who's got one of the 5 Astros hits, all from 5 different players so far.
When I look at Ober's outing today, too, you know, it really for me, I throw Altuve's homer out. I mean, that's first pitch of the game, whatever, settling in. It comes down to the hit by pitch and the homer after. You know, he hit Bregman with the backup slider, and then he gives up the home run to Yordan Alvarez. If he gets out of that inning right there, let's say he rolls over Yordan Alvarez, he's coming out of there and everybody thinks he did a great job. And I don't know, Maeda's still probably in the game, don't you think?
I said it last inning. No matter what happens, it's going to be his last hitter, more than likely.
1-1 to Pena. Popped up foul.
The one luxury that Rocco does have is he has Sonny Gray and Pablo Lopez going the next 2 games. So he can get Maeda in. Maeda's going to go 2 or 3 innings here, depending on the score. And then he can use some lower leverage guys if they're not still behind and save all his A-type relievers for game 2 tomorrow.
A 1-2 to Pena. Reaches out and pokes it foul.
Game 1s are always big, but if whichever side wins this game with the pitching matchups coming up, it was absolutely huge, you know, especially for the Twins. If they could have snuck out, and they can still do it, they get out of here with a win in this game 1 against Justin Verlander, the best pitcher of our generation, maybe, or at least top couple for sure. You know, that would have been absolutely huge for them.
1-2. Waved on and missed. Maeda gets Pena on the slider. Well, Houston's been so good in the division series. They've been so good at home. More often than not, they've been at home to start off a division series. When you win division titles, you're typically going to be one of the top seeds. So they're often at home, but they've been able to throw their aces, and their aces have often delivered. And so far, Verlander has. Ober's out of the game. Maeda deals, and Maldonado takes a strike.
Well, that's how you get to all the World Series and all the LCSs in a row. You win game 1 and these LDSs, that opens you up for winning series. And the Astros are good. We all know that they're good. They've struggled at home here. They were under 500 at home. And then you look at the pitching matchup going into game 1. And again, we're only in the 4th inning. It's only 3-0. But if somehow the Twins win this game with the pitching matchup of Bailey Ober versus Justin Verlander, that's a huge psychological
That's a steal.
blow.
It's a steal of a win.
That's more than a steal.
1-1. Fouled back by Maldonado.
It's just good for baseball, though, that the Twins fan base right now is at home watching every pitch, going crazy about every pitch. You know, that stadium the other day was absolutely
Incredible
rocking
atmosphere.
on TV.
We'll be there Tuesday. It's going to be raucous at Target Field. Will they be able to get back with a 1-1 series split? Or will they be trailing 2-0? Or somehow, if they can come back in this game, maybe set them up for a 2-0 lead. That'd be a shocker. Long way to go before we get there. 1-2 pitch is in the dirt. The Astros, during this run of consecutive trips to the American League Championship Series, 6 consecutive, they have gone 11-0 at home in the division series. A couple of those games in 2020 obviously were neutral site games, but when they've been here, they have been untouched in the division series. Trying to keep that going. Maeda's 2-2 is a slider outside.
We've been here every time.
Yeah. The three of us have enjoyed Houston a lot.
Well, at least I have.
Years, yeah.
2015, 2017, 2019, 2020, when it was the Marlins and the Braves,
Yep.
and then 21 and now 23.
Yep. A yearly tradition, unlike any other. A payoff pitch from Maeda to Maldonado is upstairs, and the 9-hitter, a light-hitting catcher in the postseason and in his career, extends the inning to Altuve. You saw the frustration on Maeda's face when he lost Maldonado there. Here comes Pete Mackey with the interpreter as well to talk to Maeda, with Altuve coming up and 2 men on base. Well, Altuve, he's been a dominant player in the division series as well. All those postseason home runs, 24 of them, 3 of them came in the first game of the ALDS. Chris Sale got the brunt of it against Altuve.
So what he does, he's the ultimate catalyst for this Astros team and lineup. It starts from the first pitch of the game. You better be ready. You better make a quality pitch. He just keeps pressure on you. And if you make a mistake, he'll make it 1-0 right away.
A mistake here could break this game open. 4th inning, game 1, 2 on and 2 out.
That's a good matchup, though. I know Maeda's mad he walked Maldonado, but Maeda throws a lot of splits, a lot of sliders, keeps the ball down. Well, you know, you've talked about how he likes the ball up. If he doesn't make a mistake, this should be an okay matchup.
There's that splitter to start him. It's foul.
His split slider combo should be a good matchup against Altuve, but you never know with Jose Altuve at the plate. The guy can do almost anything with a bat in his hands. He's an incredible player. Maeda with the playoff experience, though, this is a good matchup. I'd like to know the over-under on spits from Jose Altuve per game. And if you'll notice, when he hits a home run, he spits immediately, just like that, as soon as he hits a home run every time.
Let's call our friends at FanDuel and see what kind of parlay we can get on the spits. 33 years of age, from Venezuela, 8-time All-Star. Waits for an 0-2. Stays alive. That splitter is very much down, and Altuve's fighting him off. Let's see if Waino, if your feeling was right.
Right
Yep,
there.
Yep, there it was.
Every time, buddy. Guys have, it's like Michael Jordan with the tongue out when they dunk. You know, it's the little things like that you notice. Unfortunately, I've seen it in person a couple times in spring training. You know, you see it, as soon as you see the spit, you're like, oh crap, he spit on me.
2 on, 2 out. 0-2 pitch. 1-2.
Yeah, that's a setup pitch there, right, Waino? That's a setup pitch. Now he's going to go slider away or split down. But that pitch right there was just to change his eye level, get him looking up, and we can go to something else. If he throws him a split, it's 1-2. If he throws him 3 more splits in the dirt, Altuve will swing and miss at one of them.
He spikes a splitter, and both runners will advance. And now the pressure rises.
Nothing Jeffers can do here. Just a ball yank, splitter down and away. I know he's on one knee, but you're not expecting the ball in the left-handed batter's box. He tries everything in his power to do it, but
the knee down, I know it saves catcher's knees, but it does stop the blocking a little bit, doesn't it, AJ?
On the ground is short. That's picked up by Correa.
It was.
And he gets Altuve and leaves a couple of men stranded. Still 3-0 through 4 innings in game 1.
Dusty, you watched Justin Verlander pitch through a lot of traffic early, now 6 set down in a row. What adjustment did you see him make?
Well, it looked like he's staying on the ball, staying on the rubber. He was kind of running off to the left, trying to force that breaker ball. And, now look like he's settled down. I mean, we needed it big time. And, this guy knows how to get out of trouble. We just hope he don't get any more trouble.
Well, Dusty, what's your trust factor in Justin as he pitches deep into a game, especially being stressed early tonight?
Well, something, usually a great pitcher can get out of trouble 2 or 3 times, max. And so, my trust level's, tremendous when it comes to him. But, we got to watch him in these middle innings right here. And especially we've been off a while and our bullpen's fresh. And staying here. Good. And so our bullpen's fresh, so we got to kind of lean on that bullpen if it looked like he gets in and losing it or gets in any more trouble.
Thanks, Dusty. And I'm impressed that baseball listened to you to stay in the ballpark.
It doesn't always listen to me.
Thanks, Dusty. Back to you, Adam.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate the time for both Rocco and Dusty here. 7 in a row retired now by Verlander as he gets Jeffers on the first pitch. And now here's Michael A. Taylor. He's got some power. He pops one foul. That was the first outfield flyout for Verlander today.
Usually you're looking at a starting pitcher. He can get out of 2 jams for sure. The 3's kind of iffy. You don't put him back out there for a 4th jam. A guy like Justin Verlander, maybe you do, but usually it's that 3rd jam that's the question mark. The first 2, you got the big adrenalines. You got to watch the fist pumps. You use your fist pumps up too early, that could get you in trouble.
You have a quota of fist pumps.
Yeah,
that you're
those
allowed to
fist
use.
pumps can cost you, man. Also, a reliever. If you ever I feel like coaches, managers make this mistake all the time. You bring a reliever in the game, he gets out of a huge jam, he goes off the field with the big fist pumps. Do not throw him back in that game.
He's already kind of extended the emotion of that of his outing at that point.
Used up his adrenaline.
That's it.
0-2 to Taylor. That one came up and in, and Taylor is aboard. So a man aboard with one out here in the fifth. Back to the top in Julian. Justin Verlander squaring off with these twins. Adam Amin, couple World Series champs. A.J. Przinsky, Adam Wainwright, Tom Verducci on the field. So, Wayno, your thoughts. Give me a little bit more on Verlander. He's 40 years old. You're pitching into your 40s. You understand what the toll of the game is like. And I'm curious how the rule changes that have been so offensive friendly this season have affected guys that have been around for as long as a player like Verlander has, as you have.
Well, it does take some getting used to, and I think that's one of the things. You see the ERAs up a little bit across the board in some fashion, especially starting pitchers. I think it's going to take a little bit of getting used to with the pitch clock and all the different changes. All these changes, by the way, help the hitter, not the pitcher. All of them. You know, we got the bigger bases, we got the pitch clock. We can't step off nobody on. You can't throw over a couple of times. You know, there's a lot of stuff that pitchers are going to have to get used to. He's 40 years old. I talked to him yesterday. He said his arm still feels great. I would not be surprised in the least to see this guy end up winning 300 games as the last 300-game winner ever.
He's at 257 in the regular season right now. AJ, we've seen the traffic early. Verlander seemingly getting more comfortable. What do you need to see from Minnesota offensively right now?
Grind out at bats, get his pitch count up. Dusty Baker talked about their bullpen and how set it was. You want to get into the bullpen. Yes, I know Houston's bullpen has been very strong. But for me, you want to get Verlander out. Put pressure on the new guys coming in. Verlander's settling in nicely. He hit Michael A. Taylor with a changeup, which he probably is thinking, why did I throw that pitch? Well, you got to get Verlander out of the game as quick as possible. Get to the bullpen, because then you never know what can happen.
Sure.
One guy comes in, is not on his game, different story.
2 balls and 2 strikes on Julian.
Look how this started off, though. They had a couple of runners on in each inning to start it. They had those big situations where he got out with double plays. He was 3 for his first 9 in first pitch strikes. If I'm not mistaken, he's 7 for his last 7 in first pitch strikes. He's really starting to fall into a groove here, and you can't let Justin Verlander fall into that groove.
Whoa, man, that breaking ball sent Julian's bat out of his hands. 8 of the last 9 retired by Verlander. 3 of them in that stretch via punch out. This one made Julian look a little foolish.
How does this make you feel as a pitcher? You lose the bat and the helmet at the same time on probably the best curveball Verlander has thrown. Julian didn't know which one to pick up, his bat or his helmet.
There's Polanco taking ball 1. And you were correct. That ball ends the streak. It was 7 in a row, Wayno. First pitch strikes after he had some struggles early getting ahead of hitters.
Yeah, as a pitcher calling this game, I'm thinking that was 8 in a row, because I want that pitch call right there.
Again, you have a stolen base threat now with Taylor. How aggressive are you in a 3-0 game going against Verlander?
I'm kind of surprised he didn't go with Julian up, but at the same time, you want to kind of leave that hole open a little bit on the right side. You want to get him in scoring position here with 2 outs if you can. But the Twins, they don't run a ton, though.
Yeah,
they're kind of middle of the pack stealing. They're not the Orioles. They're not the Diamondbacks.
Yeah,
I mean, they're not running crazy.
Yeah, they were 6th fewest stolen bases in baseball this year with the new rules and all the adjustments. Taylor was one of their runners this season. Polanco, it's 1 and 2.
Watch Verlander, though. He doesn't care. No. He has no cares about Michael A. Taylor. He could get the biggest lead. He threw over once, just courtesy. Hey, I know you're there. Michael A. Taylor could get a huge lead and get a huge jump right here, because Verlander's, he knows the score as a veteran pitcher. He knows he has to get Polanco out. If Taylor gets a second, he doesn't care. He just wants to get Polanco out. Another inning down, 3-run lead, move on to the next.
1-2. Taylor goes. Breaking ball. Called strike 3. The inning's over. Another strikeout on a breaking ball. That curveball, which was struggling early, looks sharp now. 9 of the last 10 retired by Verlander. We're halfway through.
was not it either.
You know, that.
Customize your feed, get personalized stats, highlights, live streams. It's on the MLB app. Your home for postseason baseball. Maeda to Bregman. That one came inside, but seemingly went off the bat for a foul ball and a strike.
Hit the knob.
You can kind of hear that pop off the wood. Yep, right off the bottom of the bat, off the knob.
There was a time you would have sold that and dropped to the ground, rolled around a little bit, and didn't go on the first. But now there's replay. Might as well even do it.
Well, he wants a base hit. He just got one. So the leadoff man is on base for a third time in 5 innings for Houston. Back to Maldonado throwing a runner out, or stealing a strike, basically.
Well, he blocks the catcher out. He blocks Brian Knight out. And you can tell, Polanco didn't think it was a strike. Maldonado didn't think it was a strike. Nobody except Brian Knight, the home plate umpire, thought this was a strike. Because as a catcher, you don't fire this ball if you think that's a strike. You try to sell it and steal the strike. But I know, Wayno, you were complaining about how all the rules are tilted toward offense. Well, you got one back right there as a pitcher.
Outside.
Yeah, makeup call from the first pitch missed, but I'm sure Twins fans are going, that's not the same. That's not a makeup call. But you know that I hope to goodness that they do not go to robot umpires, because it would I think it would ruin the artistry of this whole thing, right? Like, as a pitcher, you're trying to make your balls look like strikes and strikes look like balls. As a catcher, you're trying to frame those balls and steal those low strikes and steal those balls in the corner. And I think if you're just robot umps, you'll lose all that. And I think that's the coolest part of this pitching thing.
I think we've talked about this in the past. Would you be open to a replay review system or a challenge system for a pitcher, maybe once or twice per game or per outing, or maybe a manager only gets 2 a game or something like that? Would you be open to something like that?
Yeah, I would. And I mean, a challenge system, and I mean, a lot of the rules are really great and good for baseball. I think challenge, I think throw the flag right away if you see something egregious. I think in a ball strike situation, I think you should have the opportunity to challenge maybe 3 times a game. They're working on that in the minor league level right now. I know that they've been trying to master that. So I know the hitters and the pitchers say that's a good thing down there. I went down there on a couple of rehab assignments, and it seemed like everybody was liking that situation.
Alvarez will take ball 4. So Bregman and Alvarez reach base against Maeda to start the 5th. And now here comes Tucker with nobody out and 2 men aboard, and things getting a little bit tighter for Rocco Baldelli here in the 5th.
This is where the Astros' experience and depth of their lineup comes into play, right? Bregman, leadoff single. You saw it right there, a 3-1 slider to Alvarez after the bat before. He hit a changeup and 400 feet to right. Now, guess what? Now you get the AL leader in RBIs.
Outside.
112 for Tucker this season. 1 homer shy of a 30-30 campaign. The 30th home run still being petitioned. It was a triple and an error. Then it was an inside the park home run. Then it was a triple and a fielder's choice. Came on the final weekend of the season.
He was trying like crazy to get that 30.
He was.
He wasn't. He was running through stop signs.
Just 1 homer shy of what would have been a 30-30 season and a 3rd consecutive 30-homer campaign for Tucker, turning into one of the best players in baseball. Goes the other way. Great play by Polanco. That was a massive catch to make by Polanco at 3rd. Typically not the 3rd baseman. That would be Lewis. Polanco is there because of Lewis's injury. He may have just saved at least 1 run right there.
This was a missile, and this is why. Listen, this is why Kyle Tucker led the league in RBIs. He also hit over 350 with runners in scoring position. He uses the whole field. We saw his first at bat. He rips a double down the right field line. He gets an off-speed pitch the other way and hammers it. What we thought was going down the left field line, and Polanco just snags it.
There's Abreu, strike 1.
Hey, Jay, what do you think about the next generation of hitters? I think the next generation of hitters is going to be able to beat these big shifts that we have on. And I know it's not as shifted as much as it used to be, but still, shortstop looks second base is played up the middle almost every time with the right-hander up. Shortstop's played up the middle almost every time with the left-hander up.
In the air, deep left field. Playable for Wallner towards the corner. That is down. It is going to score a run. Bregman is in. Alvarez stops at 2nd, and Jose Abreu makes it 4-0 Houston.
I didn't want to interrupt you, Wayno, but I was thinking Maeda versus Abreu is a good matchup for the Astros because Abreu struggles on a lot of balls hard and up.
Yeah.
Maeda throws a lot of breaking balls down, and that's kind of into a sweet spot. Now, listen, that's a slider off the end of the bat, perfectly placed. Great base running by Bregman right here. Watch this. He goes all the way. Listen, if he catches it, he's probably out, but he read it right. He read it properly. Alvarez at first did not read it as well, and that's why he's only at second. But great base running by Alex Bregman.
Not sure if Wallner got a great read off the bat of that
Well, no, because okay, most teams, if we show where Wallner's standing, they put their left fielder at the cut where it juts out of the Crawford boxes out there. Now, right now, he's a little bit over from where he normally stands. But when Abreu was hitting, he was at the cut where it sticks out, right? Well, that's a long way to run because most teams would say, well, give up the single where he did and take away the ball in the gap to the 366 sign.
Brantley pulls one foul. Really felt like Wallner, had he been in the normal spot, that's a fly, maybe not a routine fly ball, but an out that he probably could make. But yeah, you're right, playing that far over probably takes that away.
Well, and the swing fools. Jose Abreu is a big, strong guy. See where he is in the cut? That's where most teams play. See how he's at the cut where it comes out? Well, now he's moved over because of lefty. But with Abreu up, he had, what, 25 more feet to go to get to that ball? That's why it fell in. Watch where he starts. Abreu, big swing. He freezes for a second. Now, if he's playing where he is right now with Brantley, he probably catches that ball. But because he is where he started, then he tried to deke. He tried to deke everybody. The only thing he deked was really nobody because Bregman, great base running, scores anyways.
Nice backdoor slider to Brantley to strike him out looking. Maeda gets the second out of this fifth inning.
This Houston lineup is it's just so deep. Like you said, AJ, there just is no holes in that lineup. 1 through 9, they're bringing out guys who can do a lot of different things with the bat. They can drive it to right. They can do damage. They make you throw the ball in the zone too.
There's McCormick taking ball one.
Well, they don't chase and they don't strike out.
That's it. I mean, they put the ball in play, and when you don't chase out of the zone, a pitcher, it is so much harder as a pitcher to get all these big time, awesome, great hitters out in the zone. If you let them get themselves out, if they will, but if they won't chase, man, that is so tough on a pitcher. It's exhausting, actually.
It's been one of the hallmarks for the Astros during this run. They've typically been in the top 5 in lowest strikeouts and lowest chase. One and one on McCormick.
I mean, I hear it all the time. The hitters say the most important thing about hitting is swinging at good pitches, and the Astros do that as good or better than any other team out there.
Chris Paddock loosening up in the Minnesota bullpen behind Maeda. Into left field, that will get down for a base hit. Coming home is Alvarez. The throw from Wallner, that gets cut off. Now they've got a man in Abreu caught, but he holds off just enough to make sure the run scores, which it does. Alvarez is home, Abreu is out, inning is over. 2-run score, and it's 5-0 Houston as we head to the 6th in game 1. 1 in the first, 2 in the third, 2 in the fifth for Houston. Now into the sixth. Verlander pitching a shutout. Royce Lewis will lead things off. If Minnesota's going to make a push against Verlander, it feels like it's got to be now, with 3, 4, and 5 due up, and then Correa looming as the Astros have continued to tack on. Lewis skies one. Center fielder McCormick is in for out number 1. So last inning ended here. Matt Wallner has one of the best arms in baseball, but Abreu got him to do exactly what he wanted, which is get a cutoff.
Well, I mentioned Alex Bregman's base running. This is outstanding base running by Jose Abreu. He flashes in front of the first baseman Kirilloff's face. Kirilloff takes the throw, gets him out at third. Watch Jeffers. Jeffers like, why did you cut it? We had a shot. Maeda's like, no, let the ball go. Great base running by Jose Abreu. He stopped, he waited, made sure the run scored, and then took the out.
2 down here in the sixth as Kepler's retired.
And don't forget, Abreu knows what he's doing. They know Matt Wallner has one of the best arms in baseball in left field. And that throw might have been a little bit up the line, but it would have been close. Alvarez doesn't run the greatest in the world, but Abreu flashes in front of Kirilloff's face, and the Astros will trade a run for an out right there.
And you saw it on Jeffers and Maeda's reactions. They wanted that ball to come through to try to prevent that 5th run from coming home. Instead, 5-0. Just 3 pitches to get the first 2 outs of this frame for Verlander, and now Kirilloff's behind 0-1.
And Verlander is in straight cruise control right now.
Yeah.
5-run lead. Into the 6th. His pitch count's back to manageable. He's only got 82 pitches right now.
He's thinking about 7 now.
Oh, he's thinking 7.
Look at the look in his eyes. Look at him. He's confidently up there on that mound, standing over there. Look, oh man, he's just feeling it.
He can't wait. He's like, hurry up and get in the box, Kirilloff, so I can get you out.
Here's an 0-1.
Inside.
Close pitch, 1-1. Good take by Kirilloff.
But if he gets through 6, okay, he'll keep going, right? They'll probably let him go. If he gets Kirilloff here, he's going to go back out. Every out he steals after the 6 is just bonus for Dusty Baker.
1-2. A chance for another 1-2-3 inning.
Especially the way the game started, though, right? All the pitches he threw in the first, how much he struggled in the first inning. Now you look up again.
So much of pitching is what you do on your off days. It's not what you do on the days you feel great. It's how you come back from those times where you don't feel great. And earlier he didn't. You could tell early in this game he was not in sync like he wanted to be. But the true mark of a true pitcher is how you rebound and how you pitch on your days where you don't have it. And not to say he doesn't have it, because he's found it and he's cruising now. But to start like he did and then get out of it, that's the mark of a true pitcher.
2-2 to Kirilloff. Just barely got a piece of that curve. Just died. As Parlon says, fell off the table from one of the great curveball pitchers of this generation.
I appreciate it. How can you be ready for everything he throws, right? He's got 95 to 97 at the top right now. He's got changeup working down. He's got his good slider back. He's throwing the big curveball with a big shape. There's just no way to look for all that stuff.
Another 2-2. Count runs full on Kirilloff. It's a good at bat by the Minnesota first baseman.
I still think his best finishing pitch is that good hard heater up.
There was. Did he go around? He did not. A crucial at bat by Kirilloff to get on base. And that will bring up Carlos Correa. Our player profile, we lock in on Correa. It's brought to us by Liberty Mutual. He was sitting on his couch with his wife Daniela last October watching his old team win a World Series. And he was missing the playoffs for the first time since the Astros last missed the playoffs in 2016. He looked at his wife and said, I never want to miss the playoffs again. Well, they need him to come up big, not only here potentially, but for the rest of this series if they're going to have a shot against the defending World Series champs. Oh, 1 to Correa. 1-1.
Talking with Thad yesterday, you know, it was clear that there's a couple of veterans in that clubhouse that have made a huge difference on their team overall, with him and Sonny Gray. And Correa comes in and solidifies the middle of the lineup, the middle of the field. Gray comes in, solidifies the starting rotation, gets those guys on good routines, good practices. Got a good leader to watch and follow.
You're talking about Thad Levine, the GM for the Twins.
Teams need that. You need that good mix of veteran and young players on the team.
Well, Correa takes the young guys under his wing. I had him a long conversation in spring training about how he brings guys over to cook for him, how he works with guys on their diets, how he works with guys on their workout programs. He really takes these young kids under his wings, and he's been the 2 years he's been there, he is definitely the leader on the Twins team. I mean, even Pablo Lopez is talking about how Correa makes him eat better and do all these things better.
Got Correa, and he is upset with Brian Knight. A sixth Verlander strikeout. A sixth Verlander shutout inning. One of the great postseason pitchers of this generation, perhaps in the history of the sport. Only Andy Pettitte has made more starts. Only Andy Pettitte has more playoff wins. He's in line for one in Game 1. You get the sense after Justin Verlander finishes off a sixth shutout inning at 93 pitches that it's probably a little too deep to try to go out for the seventh. He's already given the handshakes to the teammates in an excellent Game 1 performance. Chris Paddock is in out of the Minnesota bullpen in the sixth. Faces Jeremy Pena, and there's mom and daughter. Of course, Kate Upton, Justin's wife, and Genevieve, their young daughter, both in attendance back in Houston.
Well, he's done for me. You don't walk around as a starting pitcher giving high fives to everybody unless you're pretty much done. And he did a great job. 93 pitches, 6 shutout innings, 6 punch outs.
This is Verlander a couple of moments ago, and he's even looking at his pitching coach. Joshua Miller says, "Are you sure?"
Because I can only imagine Verlander sitting there going, "Are you serious? Do you see how I'm feeling right now?"
Give me one more. I'll get out there for one more. I imagine had he gotten through Correa or maybe hadn't walked Kirilloff, then maybe he'd be out there for the 7th. But 93 pitches. He has dominated Minnesota since he's left the American League Central and come to Houston. In the air to center field. Back goes Taylor. And that will retire Pena. So Paddock coming on gets the first out. Chris Paddock in his 2nd year with Minnesota after coming over in a trade from San Diego. Only made 5 starts in 2022 before he had to shut it down, get Tommy John surgery. He just came back September the 24th for this stretch run.
The Sheriff. He's back. Missed, what, almost 18 months it was? Close to 18 months? 16 to 18 months with Tommy John surgery. Made his way back. And the Twins think he can be a weapon for him, whether it's multiple innings. Like today, I think he's going to go multiple innings. Rocco Baldelli said he doesn't know if he can go back-to-back, which is understandable. But if he can give him 2 or 3 innings here, that puts the Minnesota bullpen in a great spot for the next game tomorrow.
I think going into today, we knew this was going to be a tough task for the Minnesota Twins. Verlander matches up very well with them. His strengths and their weaknesses line up really well. We knew if he was on his game, he was going to have a good chance to pitch a good game. But we also saw early on they put him in some spots and he got out of them. You know, that's the key.
It really feels like that first 2-inning run that the Twins had with all that traffic was an opportunity lost. Maldonado goes down swinging on a change. They're 2 down. This postseason, get the best 5G coverage in the game with T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. 2 away for Altuve.
The Twins started 4 for 8, and then they went 0 for 12 after that.
6 of their first 10 batters reached base and
scored
no runs
0.
across.
And scored 0.
Exactly. They had traffic in the first. Verlander got a double play in that inning despite 2 walks and a hit in the frame by Minnesota. Altuve came up in the bottom of the first, hit the solo home run off of Bailey Ober, and Houston took it from there.
Well, if you didn't think he was done before, he's definitely done now. He's over here looking at the crowd, smiling, laughing. That is not the face of a guy who's going back out there for the 7th inning.
No, as soon as you see a starter shaking hands, he's not going back out. If you tell the starter he's done, he's done. He mentally, like we spend all day, right? Justin's been all day locked in, you know, focusing. But as soon as he thinks he's out of there, you tell him, you give him that handshake, he's done. Mentally, you go to a different spot right away.
There is the Astros bullpen. Stanek, and I believe that's Neris loosening up. Flip to right field. Kepler's there, and that will retire the side in order. Paddock goes 1-2-3. 5-0 Houston.
Again, 6 shutout innings. A lot of traffic in the first couple innings, Justin. It looked like the curveball to Polanco in the third got you back on track. What changed?
Just some tempo stuff, you know. Was a little out of sync early on and was able to start to find it. And really the curveball for me is a pitch that once I can start to land it and bring it below the zone the way I want to, I know my timing's better. So that started to come along, so that was a good sign because I needed it.
Justin, 2 ground ball double plays and 11 starts with the Astros, 2 in the first 2 innings. How big were those pitches?
They were huge. I mean, obviously, not the way you'd script starting it, but you just want to try to find any way you can to get out of some trouble. And, you know, I know guys look for my fastball up, so when I can go down with it, sometimes I can get guys to get on top of it because they're so aware of the fastball up. So, you know, was able to get a couple big ones there.
I know you got a lot of fans in the stands and family as well. How cool was that moment to share it with them?
Great. You know, it's always a pleasure to be able to look up and see my family, especially my daughter. You know, we have a day game, so she's able to come and, you know, see her up there and be able to smile and say, I love you. It's just, you know, what it's about.
Thanks so much, Justin. Well done.
Thanks, Tom.
Almost 5 years old now, Genevieve.
I thought he was waving at me. I was waving back. I didn't know.
You were so excited. He and Kate got married a couple days after the 2017 World Series, and Genevieve is almost 5 now. Hector Neris ends up hitting Matt Wallner. Jeffers flips one into right center field. That gets down for a base hit. On to second goes Wallner. AJ, you said something earlier. You got to get Verlander out of the game if you're Minnesota. Now, he naturally comes out of the game at 93 pitches. Neris has been phenomenal this year, but if you're going to strike, Minnesota's got to strike now.
Absolutely. This is your shot. Now, especially first and second, no outs. You're bringing in a pinch hitter here. You're just got to get the runs in. They've had so many opportunities early in the game. Listen, Neris gave him a free base runner by hitting the leadoff guy. Then Jeffers is great at the first pitch, breaks his bat, flips the ball into right field. This is your shot.
Twins without a hit with a runner in scoring position so far, 0 for 5. They were 1 for 10 in the series against Toronto in the 2 games. And Willie Castro, a switch hitter, is going to come up for Michael A. Taylor here. And that will induce a visit from Josh Miller as well to go over the quick scout with Neris. While we have a moment, a quick word from Capital One.
We need a clutch hit. Derek Jeter.
Hang in there, rookie.
So Neris, who's been as good as he ever has been in his career, now 34 years of age. He's got the great splitter and a really good fastball. Willie Castro is going to come in off the bench. He's got power and speed. If he can get on base and turn this back to the top, things could get very interesting for Minnesota's offense.
Well, you know, sometimes when you're the team that's losing at the time, and they take out the starting pitcher who's rolling, that gives your whole dugout a big jolt. You go, all right, now we go. And so I'll guarantee you that's what that Twins dugout is saying over there right now.
Well, I agree with that, except for there's one difference in that. Usually that's when it's 1-0 or it's close. You're down 5.
Yeah, but you know, you got to rally. You got to rally around something.
They need to rally around a couple hits with runners in scoring position, but they need to rally around.
Quickly, 0-2 on Willie Castro. And now 1 for 15 in the postseason so far for Minnesota.
One thing I didn't like with Willie Castro, he took fastball right down the middle. As a pinch hitter, you get 3 swings. You cannot take the first pitch heater right down the middle. Because then, guess what? From Hector Neris, he only throws 2 pitches, fastball split. He's just going to go split, 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 and he's going to bet that Castro swings at one before he walks him.
2+ pitches for Neris, that fastball split combo. 1-2 to Castro. He catches up to the fastball just to foul it back. Willie Castro came over from Detroit. His first season with Minnesota, 4 years with the Tigers. He was a little surprised that they got rid of him, but he showed enough in spring training to earn a spot. He's a key, hitting from both sides of the plate for Minnesota this season. A 1-2. Split in the dirt, lays off, 2-2. I asked you in the break, AJ, can you talk to me about how you're looking when you're facing a pitcher that has a good splitter?
We need to get the ball up. That's why you don't want to miss the fastball. You try to hit a fastball, especially early in the count. That's
a fork ball. Almost.
That is a fork ball. That is a full split finger. Great job by Maldonado stopping this ball. Anything down, though, if he can throw a fastball down, he'd probably punch him out. But, you know, fastball's up, splits down, another split in the dirt.
Maldonado had to juggle it, and he will flag it down with no movement from the runners.
You gotta look for a spot, right? You gotta say, okay, Hector Neris, as a left-handed hitter, I faced Hector Neris. You're gonna get a split. You gotta make it be up. Because as soon as you start hunting down, he'll just expand down like he's been trying to do here to Castro. You gotta make it be up. Now 3-2 here, you gotta either say, all right, I'm looking fastball, and I need it up. If he throws a fastball down right here, Castro probably won't swing.
Payoff pitch. Fastball painted on the outside edge at the knees. You could not place that pitch any better. That's a frustrating at bat for Castro to finish it off that way.
Again, the Twins hit in zones, lanes, whatever you want to call it. And every pitcher that comes in, they say, okay, Hector Neris throws a fastball split. We need a ball up, right? That's why I was saying, if he can throw a fastball down, he's not going to swing because out of the hand, he's like, okay, this might be a split take. And he was taking it right away.
Back to the top, and Julian, strike one on the splitter.
And see, though, that's a split you want to hit. That one's up. So he's looking up. He didn't swing at it. Much like Castro first pitch. Got a fastball pretty much center cut and took it.
0-1 to Julian. And there's that split. Just got a piece, fouled it. Quickly 0-2.
And the way Neris combats the Twins is what he did to Castro, but he's also got to throw high fastballs because they're looking up. So if you can throw it just high enough to where they can't get to it, it'll completely baffle them. It's kind of like the other day when they faced Gossman in the wild card round.
Split, swing, strikeout.
So wait, no, if I'm facing Neris again, first pitch split, right? That's the one I want to hit. It starts up. I got to let it eat on that one, right? Now the next one, still a decent one, still high. Now this one you can't swing at. But you get 2 strikes, you get a little anxious. Playoffs, haven't got hitting runners in scoring position. 7th inning at 0, so you chase.
Yeah, that first pitch was the one hit, like you said, but it looked like it started in a little bit more than he thought it was going to, and kind of caught him off guard. But you're right, man, those ones up. That was the key to them beating Gausman the other day, right? Was taking those splits low. They to your credit, man, you called that heater. That was awesome, by the way. They were taking those fastballs down and those splits down the other day and looking for the ball up, and they probably went the same approach right there off Neris.
Maldonado throws behind Wallner, who took a big secondary lead, and Machete was trying to catch him napping. Instead, 2-0 the count. Everybody's safe.
If you watch the wild card game the other day against Gausman, that was their plan. This is the ball in the dirt. Good throw by Maldonado, hits him right in the elbow.
Oh man, that's tough for Wallner.
And goes right to Altuve. Altuve is like, what? How'd I get the ball?
Well, keep an eye on that. That's in that forearm area. That's tough for Wallner. Polanco lifts one deep to right field, and he just changed the complexion of this game with one very important swing to the upper deck in Houston. It's 5-3 when they needed it most. One of their longest tenured Twins comes up clutch.
You know what I'm thinking about right now? Are you sure?
Verlander.
Yeah. Hey, leave your starters in the game. I always say it, but you know, who knows what would happen if he comes back out. But Justin Verlander was cruising. He knew he was cruising. You want to take me out? Are you sure? Now you're thinking, well, maybe I should have left him in. I don't know.
The swing they needed to get back in it. Here's Lewis. Strike.
Outside.
Or no, thought it was a strike. It was outside. Beg your pardon. 1-0.
I don't think he liked that one very much. Altuve is like, oh, baby, that one's been a long way.
Polanco's a hard guy to game plan. He does so many different things.
Lewis lifts one now. Back to back go the Twins, and we've got a 1-run game here in Game 1. His 3rd postseason home run. And the Twins shocking the Houston bullpen in the 7th. It's not the Bomba squad of 4 years ago, but this team can punch it. And 2 huge swings has made it a 1-run game.
Couple things. Behind in the count, 2-0 to Polanco, had to throw a fastball. 1-0 to Royce Lewis, threw him a fastball. Both middle, kind of, up. 2 home runs for the Twins. They're back in the game.
The land of 10,000 rakes has traveled south, and Royce Lewis continues to swing a hot bat. 3 career playoff games, 3 career playoff home runs for Lewis. First it was Polanco with 2 men aboard to change the course of this game. Lewis has done so further. It's 5-4 in the 7th. The Twins aren't going away in game 1.
We've got a ball game here thanks to home runs by Jorge Polanco and this man, Royce Lewis. Royce, pitching change for the Astros. The tenor in this dugout changed with Verlander out of the game.
Yeah, you know, we just kept our mindset on getting runs and helping out our pitchers because they've been keeping us in the game, and we still got a lot of work to do.
We had a camera on your parents in the stands here today. How good did this moment feel for you, and knowing that they're here watching you?
Oh, it's even better. You know, I always perform when they're here. I like enjoying, you know, their presence, and having them here, I love them so much, so it means a lot.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Back to you, Adam.
And an excuse me base hit from Max Kepler. Now everything's coming up Minnesota, but it's going to be a close play at second. He's in. An accidental check swing double, and the tying run is in scoring position for the Twins in the 7th. Brian Abreu comes on, and Kepler gets 2 bags just like that.
Well, it all started with a hit by pitch. Leading off, Neris comes in, and this is like a, excuse me, but a great swing when you're a hitter because that's a double, and you're standing on second as the tying run.
And here's Kirilloff. Suddenly the go-ahead run at the plate. Within the matter of about 5 pitches, this game completely shifted. And Brian Abreu, who was used more than any other reliever for Dusty Baker this year, had one of the best seasons of his career, is on to try to finish off this inning with the lead intact. 0-2.
Well, he's a big heavy slider guy, mainly fastball slider. Interesting stat about him, though. He hasn't given up a run since July 18th, Adam. That's a long run. Why? Because his slider, opponents hit under 170 against it. It is one of the great sliders. But not to mention he also throws about 100.
The pitch of the game to this point is in the dirt. Stopped by Maldonado. 1-2 on Kirilloff.
Now I know Maldonado doesn't hit like maybe, you know, you want your catcher to hit or whatever. But the calm presence that guy has in the biggest moments and the experience he has, that is a big deal for a pitching staff. These guys are comfortable throwing to him.
Well, how many balls does he block this inning alone?
Yeah. Blocked that one with his neck, I think.
That one's in the dirt. Blocked yet again by Maldonado. Abreu was sparkling in the postseason run to the World Series last year. 11 1/3 without allowing a run. Great slider fastball combo, trying to leave the tying run stranded in scoring position. What a turnaround. 2-2. Playoff star blossoming in front of our eyes, Royce Lewis, this week. His homer has made it a one-run game. The 2-2 to Kirilloff. Check swing, appeal to third, no swing, full count.
I'm telling you, man, a team just needs something to believe in. The starter goes out, he's dealing, you're down a few runs. If you just keep that good mindset that we're still in this thing, we can do it. You have to. If you don't stay in that position in your mind, you're toast, especially against a great team like the Astros. It seems like they kept their mind right in the right spot.
Payoff pitch is swung on and missed. Abreu finishes it off in the seventh, but the Twins have turned this game around. William and Cindy watching their son battle through injury, battle through the hamstring and the ACLs. Polanco and Lewis go deep. It's 5-4 at the stretch in Game 1 in Houston on FS1. Alex Bregman takes a breaking ball strike from Chris Paddock, who suddenly finds himself pitching in his second inning of relief from a 5-run game to a 1-run game. The Twins had 4 hits in 6 innings on Justin Verlander. They had 4 hits alone and 4 runs on a couple of homers against the Astros bullpen. Castro stays in to play center field after he came on as a pinch hitter for Michael A. Taylor in that 7th inning, where 8 Twins came to bat, 4 of whom came across the plate to shift the game.
This is going to probably be Paddock's last hitter. You have Thielbar, the lefty, warmed up. You have Alvarez and Tucker, 2 lefties coming up.
Yep. Up and in on Bregman at 97, 2-2. Bregman fouls it. I just have to imagine that inning was such a tension release for that Minnesota dugout after they were so tight against Verlander for so many innings to close out his outing.
You know what releases the tension? A ball hit about 450 feet by Polanco. That releases all the tension.
And Bregman goes down swinging on a fastball riding inside on him. 1 down, and indeed, as you mentioned, AJ, they're going to go to Thielbar, the lefty, to face the incredible duo of Alvarez and Tucker. Don't forget Brantley is due up potentially in this inning as well, or in the next couple batters after. We'll step aside. A 1-run ball game. Bottom of the 7th in game 1 of the ALDS.
Tomorrow on Fox, the Giants try to slow down Tua, Tyreek and the Dolphins, or Jalen Hurts and the Eagles take on Matthew Stafford and the Rams, or other regional action. Check for the game in your area tomorrow on Fox and the Fox Sports app.
Cards red, Wainwright 1, Pierzynski nothing. Score, Houston 5, Minnesota 4, and Caleb Thielbar, one of their top relievers and their lone lefty in the bullpen, will come on to face 2 electric lefties in Alvarez and Tucker. Alvarez has homered in this game already. Tucker has doubled. And he went after the first fastball he saw and swung through, 0-1.
He tried to make a point right there, didn't he? But see, here's the thing, man. There's something about all these playoff teams that's unique, and it's all the same, right? All these playoff teams, they have a never-say-die attitude. They're never out of any game. They always believe they could come back. And the teams that are home, they didn't probably have that same attitude.
Now, see, I disagree with that. Every team believes you can come back. Just a matter of, do you have good enough players to be able to come back?
Yeah, but I've been on teams both ways, where teams that you get behind and you go, oh man, we're behind, and then you get behind and you go, dude, we still got this. You know, I've felt that both sides.
Alvarez with a response, his second of the game off the pole.
Alvarez said he got that.
Yep.
Here's Tucker, now a 2-run lead. He waves and misses. Thielbar had not allowed a home run to a left-hander all year. This left-hander is at 2 today, 1 against a righty, and then that one a moment ago off Thielbar, the left-hander.
Let's not forget Yordan Alvarez was Player of the Month in September for the American League, okay? He hits that ball in the 3rd inning, and you mentioned it. Thielbar had not given up a home run to a lefty. Now, he had been vulnerable to home runs to righties on his fastball. Alvarez hit his curveball. His curveball is one of the best curveballs in all of baseball, right-handed or left-handed. Impressive. Waino's just in the middle of, oh, we got this, and wham, Alvarez.
Not we. I'm just saying, man. Like, hey, look, how fun is this, though? You know, and some people are made for the big moments, and Yordan Alvarez is made for the big moments. He proves that time after time.
One big thing about Alvarez and Tucker, yes, they brought in Thielbar. They're not affected by left-handed pitching. That's a curveball, doesn't do much. Alvarez clips it so far out front, hits the Chick-fil-A foul pole down the right field line.
Who was it? Oh, yeah.
Called strike 3, fastball at the knees to freeze Tucker. 2 down here in the 7th.
Last year in the postseason, Yordan Alvarez came up to bat for the 3rd time against a very good lefty from the Phillies. And the 3rd time he got him. Do you remember that? It was the biggest home run of that postseason, of that World Series, if I remember right.
Yeah, it was off Alvarado.
It was Alvarado.
Giving
that's
up
right.
anything.
He hadn't. But the 2nd time he faced him, he almost got him. And then the 3rd time he did get him. Like you said, he's not swayed by lefty on lefty. He's hitting pitches in the zone. You face a guy like that, a guy like Freddie Freeman, it doesn't matter what pitch you're throwing or who's pitching it. If it's in the zone and it's a strike, he's going to have a rip at it. He's going to have a great chance to hit it really hard.
Dusty Baker and the trainer have come out to check on Jose Abreu. Let's check in with Tom Verducci.
Yeah, actually it was a matchup the Astros were looking forward to. Alex Cintron, the hitting coach, told me yesterday, check the numbers when a manager brings in a lefty to pitch to Yordan Alvarez. He said that it is off the charts. Lefties do not bother him. And, of course, the home run last year that decided the clinching game of the World Series off Jose Alvarado when Rob Thompson brought him in to face Alvarez.
Abreu back in the box. 0-1 against Thielbar. Upstairs. Alvarez's numbers, to your point, Tom, they're historically good against lefties. There are very few left-handed hitters that have hit better, that have a better OPS lifetime against left-handed pitching than Alvarez. And if I mention the names, you're going to be thinking, wow, that's all like some of the greatest players
Williams,
ever.
I'm guessing Ted Williams.
Yep.
Babe Ruth.
Yep.
DiMaggio's righty. Never mind.
Lou Gehrig.
And
your teammate, old teammate. The greatest left-hander arguably ever.
Oh, Barry Bonds.
Barry Bonds.
I mean, yeah, I should have known that one.
Those are the only 4 hitters, only 4 left-handed hitters that have a higher OPS against lefties than Alvarez. This is the home run that turned Game 6 around in the World Series last year. As our buddy Joe Davis said, it flipped it upside down and essentially clinched it for the Astros.
And you know, they have all the information. Rocco has that information, but he trusts his guy in that spot too, because he hasn't given up a home run all year to a lefty.
Fouled back by Abreu, 3-2. Well, to your point, Wayno, you have to. These are your guys. You have to put them out. You have to trust them. You have to instill confidence in them. Alvarez is just a really, really, really good hitter.
He's a really good hitter, and I mean, who do you like better in that spot, Paddock or
Thielbar? It's a right decision, probably.
Which ball traveled farther? The one he hit off Robbie Ray last year, or the one he hit off of Alvarado last year? Two of the toughest left-handed pitchers in baseball, and he got them both, and now he gets Thielbar. It's just amazing how him and Tucker, they stay in there, they don't give, and they hit for power. That's the thing. Yeah. Most lefties, I was a left-handed hitter. When I was facing lefty, I was like, okay, I'm going to take my single, move on. These guys are trying to do damage.
Here's the lefty Brantley, so this might be the last batter that Thielbar faces with this run of 4 batters and 3 left-handers. Alvarez, Tucker, the righty Abreu, and then Brantley. The right-hander Emilio Pagan is loosening up in the Minnesota pen behind Thielbar here.
I've not talked to Jordan about this, but I wonder if he goes in those spots against the lefties and he says, what's this guy's best pitch?
Well, here's the target. Let's play this here. We'll watch it. The target there.
Oof.
It was just a little bit down there.
What kind of? Is that where I think it might have been a deep target.
So the target is where you want him to start the curveball. Instead, he needed to throw it a little bit lower. Okay. The target from Jeffers, right, was probably chest high. So we talked about this last night at dinner. Do you want to target to where you started, or where you want it to end, right? It looked like Jeffers was giving Thielbar the target where to start it. Well, he started it there, and then Jordan ended it off the foul pole.
1-2 to Brantley. Is outside off the glove of Jeffers, and on to second base goes Abreu. Here's an athletic throw. Oh my goodness, what a play by Jeffers. That was an athletic play by Jeffers. Let's see if Dusty Baker wants to review. I think he said no. Don't worry about it. That might be a...
I thought he had no chance.
Oh my gosh, that might be a game-saving play if this remains close. Abreu's not the most fleet of foot, but that is an absolute beautiful play. Abreu slowed up at the second base bag. Alvarez with a huge response, the solo shot in what's become a wild game one the last 2 innings. 6-4 Houston on to the 8th. Bad base running by Abreu. Excellent athletic play by Jeffers from behind the plate. Here's Correa against Abreu to lead it off. And Brian deals to Carlos and misses inside. 1-0 on Correa, who's 1 for 3 in his ALDS Minnesota debut. Led the Twins with 3 hits during the wild card series. 2-0. Correa shouldn't be overlooked, and AJ and Waino, you guys pointed it out during the break. He did a great job on the back end of that play at second base as well by kind of deking Jose Abreu. There's a strike.
He 100% deked him. We'll show it when we show the replay. Waino, earlier in the game, he talked about Abreu coming in, getting it out of a big inning. Well, he's back out there, right? He came in, tying run on second, came in, got the third out. He's back out here. Interesting to see how he does.
Brian Abreu deals. Correa fouls it away 2-2. Let's go back to the Jose Abreu base running miscue and the deke by Correa too. Keep that in mind.
We praised Jose Abreu for his base running. Right here, lack of effort, bad base running. Correa acts like nothing's happening, and then the last second he catches it and tags him. Abreu knew it right away. Bill Miller could not wait to punch him out.
Look at his face. Look at his face. Oh, you got me. You tricked me.
It was a little bit of that. Oh, man, you got me.
There's a little bit more of, I can't believe that just happened.
Hey, I liked Jeffers' effort right away too. He takes the brief look over, sees him going. He committed 100% on making this play at second and made it happen.
Correa rips one past Bregman down the line towards the corner. Correa not sprinting his way. I wasn't sure if he was dealing with that foot issue or not. He's still with plantar fasciitis for the better part of this season. Wasn't busting it out of the box. He knew he had a double from the get-go, but he just kind of cruised in. He's in a scoring position. We'll just keep an eye on that, how he's running, if that is an issue.
Just a rocket. No other way to say it. 3-2. He had a pretty good idea what he was going to get. Slider from Abreu. Correa doesn't miss it. As soon as he realizes it's an easy double, he shuts it down.
Is he limping a little bit? I don't want to assume it. I'll just keep an eye out for that.
At this point in the season, everybody out there has got something wrong with their body, right? And so, like, he saw stand-up double. There's no reason for him to keep busting right there, slide in second. He knew he could cruise into that.
Here's Wallner. So now the tying run will come to the plate from Minnesota with nobody out.
We talked to Carlos Correa. I already mentioned it on my podcast, Foul Territory, earlier. He said he only wore 1 pair of shoes. He found a pair of shoes that he had to wear every day. Not cleats, shoes to the park. And he bought every one he could find on the internet because that was the only one he could find that didn't hurt his feet.
He's been dealing with that plantar fascia issue all season long. He was out for the final stretch of the season with that same issue. Boy, how big is that solo home run by Alvarez right now? Otherwise, Correa would be the tying run at second base. Oh, 2 to Wallner. Check swing foul into the dugout there.
The Twins are going, you know what, though? We got the tying run at the plate. You know, that's the attitude I'm talking about, man. The guy, we talked about it, he got out of that big inning last time. He's back out there, leadoff double. You never know what happens.
And nobody up either.
Yeah.
I thought Dusty would have somebody up, ready to go.
I like that too, though. That gives you got a lot of confidence in your pitcher right there.
1-2.
Sometimes when you're on the mound and you turn around, you see somebody warming up, you go, "What the heck?" And then sometimes you look down there and you don't see anybody warming up, and you're like, "That's right. They know I got this." You know, there's a mentality there.
What did you say earlier, AJ? July 15th was the last time Abreu allowed a run that he had not inherited. 1-2. Got Wallner with a high fastball. That'll bring up Jeffers with 1 away.
Four-seamer up.
Just missed it.
Just missed it, but also after all the sliders he's seen, he gets excited. You see a fastball up at 98.3 miles an hour. You just can't get to it. It looks so good as a hitter.
Here is Jeffers.
And that's that spot. I thought Verlander was going to exploit that a little bit more earlier. But that spot on Wallner is just, it's a gold mine, you know. That's a weakness for him.
Correa at second, 1 out, 8th inning, game 1. Jeffers takes high. A walk-on at North Carolina Wilmington, hit 26 home runs his final 2 years of college, got drafted in the 2nd round in 2018 by Minnesota, debuted 3 years ago and was having the best season of his young major league career. Just came up with a massive play to end the bottom of the 7th inning defensively. Takes a big cut at 99. It's 1-2. Up and in, off the glove of Maldonado, and on to third base goes Correa.
It's a big run right now. 2-run game. There's only 1 out. The Twins have to score that run from third. Make it a 1-run game. Get to the if they get to the 9th with only down 1, you're facing the closer, 1 swing, boom. Especially they're going to have the top of the order coming up.
Big spot, like you said right here. 1 out. This guy at the plate right now, he knows, man, I've got to get this guy home.
Deep fly ball might be necessary to bring Correa home. A 2-2. Just got a piece of that fastball.
How hard is it, AJ? I'd never faced a guy throwing 100 miles an hour with a 90-mile-an-hour slider like everybody in the bullpen seems to throw nowadays. That's got to be so tough on a hitter to recognize that in real time.
Well, you just got to be ready, right? You got to be ready for, you got to pick one or the other. And right there, it looked like Jeffers was looking slider because he was late. He's been late on pretty much every fastball. Granted, they've been 98 and above. But he throws a slider, he's got to bounce it.
Got him with the slider.
Or hang it.
Well, when your stuff's that good, you can't hang it, right?
He got it away from him enough. You know, he throws that same pitch and it's a little bit more over the plate. It could be in trouble, but he got it away from him enough where he was leaning.
Well, think about this. So as a hitter, you're expecting this ball to break, and he swings right underneath it. So sometimes when you, as pitchers, you know, and you pitchers, you whine, oh, I'm pitching so hard. Well, hitting, you guys make mistakes like that. It doesn't break the way it's supposed to. Hitters swing under it because they're expecting the ball to break down.
Castro fouls one back.
You can get away with a lot more stuff when you throw 100 miles an hour. You know, not at 85. Trust me, I've tried that. It's a lot harder. It's a lot harder. But you know, I've always been the thing that I think is the coolest is to be able to reach back and throw a ball 100 miles an hour like these guys do nowadays. That is so cool to watch.
See what Abreu has in the tank. Trying to finish off this inning with Correa waiting at third. 0-2. Abreu to Castro. Towards second. Altuve is there. Still a 2-run game. Still untouched for the better part of the last 3 months. Brian Abreu gets out of the jam. Attaboy. Emilio Pagan is on for the Twins to face Michael Brantley, who was left at the plate when Jose Abreu was caught stealing to finish off the bottom of the 7th. Pagan, one of the more heavily used relievers in what has been a strong bullpen in the postseason so far. They've given up 3 runs today. It was 5-0 Houston after 6 innings. Minnesota scored 4 in the top of the 7th. Yordan Alvarez answered with a solo home run, his 2nd of the game in the 7th. That's how it's 6-4. Top of the order for Minnesota will be due up in the top of the 9th. Pagan trying to keep this game at 6-4. Brantley takes one outside and hides 2-1.
Pagan's had a nice year for Minnesota. He found a cutter, and his cutter has become the ultimate weapon for him, especially against left-handed hitters.
Upstairs, and it's 3-1 on Brantley.
Well, you have to get Michael Brantley out in the zone. He is such a professional hitter. He can hurt you in a lot of ways, but he takes what you give him also. If you paint the ball down the way, he's comfortable taking it to left, and you throw it in, he's comfortable driving it to right.
Outside.
And Brantley is aboard to lead off this bottom of the 8th inning. If you're just joining us, here's what you missed so far in Game 1 between the Twins and Astros. Justin Verlander, making his 35th career postseason start, was excellent after having a lot of traffic early. Yordan Alvarez, who's been a beast in the division series the last couple of years, 2 home runs in this game. Back-to-back home runs, a 3-run shot by Polanco, and then a solo job by Lewis to get Minnesota back in it. It's 6-4 after it was 5-0. Adam Amin, Adam Wainwright, AJ Przinsky, Tom Verducci, our fabulous Fox Sports crew from Minute Maid Park in Houston. Game 2 tomorrow. It'll be in prime time on FS1. Chas McCormick behind in the count against Emilio Pagan. There goes Brantley taking off. He didn't have a single stolen base attempt in his 15 regular season games since coming back from the injury. He's got one in the postseason, and a big Houston insurance run gets into scoring position.
Well, he got a monster jump.
He did.
Pagan was not paying attention to him. He let a high leg kick. The best thing Jeffers could have done right here is throw it. See how McCormick went across the plate? Throw it, act like you touch McCormick, fall down. They'll have to send the runner back, but you have to throw it. Unfortunately for the Twins, he doesn't have the handle.
Line towards second. It's caught by Julian. More strong infield defense from the Twins. Polanco earlier, Julian here for the first key out in the 8th. Just took a base hit away from McCormick.
Base hit and another run.
Good positioning by the Twins. Great base running by Michael Brantley. Goes back right away. Knows he's not going to score anyways, even if this ball gets through. And now they're going to pinch run with Dubon for Michael Brantley.
He knew exactly where that second baseman was playing to start headed back towards the base right there. That's a big part of knowing where you are in space out there, knowing where your defenders are playing. You know, that's a big part of base running. That's a big part of pitching. That's a big part of being an athlete out there is your full understanding and awareness of everything around you.
Here's Pena. That one's inside, so Dubon will likely play center field in the 9th inning and shift McCormick over to left. Brantley's done.
As a young kid and as a base runner, it takes 5 seconds to turn around and look where everybody is behind you. He did that. Michael Brantley did that. And that's why he knew that Julian was right there. He didn't go right away, got back easily. But it takes 5 seconds. Just turn around, standing on base, just look behind you, see where everybody is, and then take your lead.
Julian played a very strong second base when he was in there this season as a rookie. 1-1. A little bit low, 2-1.
This is what I'm talking about. Just take a quick look. Sees everybody. He's like, okay, mental picture. He knew Julian was standing right there. It literally takes 5 seconds. Then the ball's hit. He's like, oh, yep, he's there. Easily back.
Seems like nothing, but it's the little things.
Yep. 2-1. Off the fist, popped up. Right there for Polanco. 2 down. Now a quick word from FanDuel. 2 down. Pagan will face Martin Maldonado here. Again, Julian, Polanco, and Lewis. Polanco and Lewis both with homers in this game. They will be due up in the top of the 9th inning against Ryan Presley, the excellent Houston closer. Pagan trying to keep this at a 6-4 game. Maldonado trying to add on and bring Dubon home. And he goes after the first fastball he saw. He's not the same defender he once was. His numbers have gone down. The running game has gone wild with the new rules. The pitching staff is part of that, but Maldonado hasn't been the same either. He's not a great hitter. That's well documented, but he has been crucial behind the plate today. And he drills one to right. This should be playable for Kepler. And off we go to the 9th inning. The big boppers are coming up for Minnesota against Presley. Polanco and Lewis saved this game at one point. They'll try to do it in the 9th against the excellent closer. Season, but in the postseason, he has been as good as it gets. Was outstanding last season for the Houston Astros en route to a World Series. He'll make his 42nd career playoff appearance, tied for 8th all-time with David Robertson. He just passed up our colleague John Smoltz. He is in to try to pick up what would be his 12th career playoff save. Chas McCormick moves from center to left. Dubon stays in to play center field. The top of the Minnesota order starts it up in the 9th, down 2. Julian takes ball 1.
Presley's a breaking ball pitcher. Cutters and curveballs are really his 2 pitches. Both of them have been great for him this year. However, since the All-Star game, he's got over a 5 ERA. He is vulnerable, but the Twins have to get a base runner.
I don't remember what the spin rate on that curveball is, but I know it's crazy high. It's over 3. It's like 3,200, and it is tough to center.
It's RPMs. It's a high spin rate. 1-1. This is on the curveball there. Ryan Presley had 1 save in 5.5 years with the Twins. He was used more as a setup and bridge guy. But he's got 107 regular season saves with the Astros, trying to find that form. You said it, he has been excellent come postseason play, but AJ, you made a great point. He's been trying to find it in the last couple of months of the season.
Well, here's the thing. Nobody on for the year, 187, 525 OPS. Men on, 271 with a 775 OPS. Again, the Twins have to get a guy on base.
And this is going to be a tough play, and it's made by Presley. A 3-1 count. Julian, a chopper for out number 1.
Was that ball 4?
It's just such a tough situation as a hitter. You'd always love to say, don't swing, but
yeah, you can't. Yeah, 3-1.
Well, coming up after the game, stay tuned. We'll have the post-game show presented by Wagoneer by Jeep. Kevin Burkhardt and company will wrap up the first 2 games of the postseason in the division series. Rangers went on the road and got a win over the Orioles. Houston trying to finish off game 1 here. Philly and Atlanta squaring off in game 1 right now. Phillies have a 1-0 lead. And then it will be Dodgers and Diamondbacks later on tonight.
In the never-ending argument of pitchers aren't athletes here, the catcher has to go out there, Waino, to give his pitcher a breath because he's tired because he had to run all the way to first base.
That is not a never-ending argument from my point of view. Best athletes on the field.
You were talking about some key moments, Waino, in this contest.
Yeah, you had Justin Verlander kind of on the ropes early on. Some big situations. He was able to get out of both of them with a couple of key ground balls. Got some double plays. Worked out defense a little bit. And then once he settles in, you know he's Justin Verlander, man. He's been pitching this long and this great for a reason. He's an incredible pitcher, and if you allow him to settle in, he's super dangerous.
Still in line for the win. Here's Polanco, whose home run back in the 7th, a 3-run shot to the upper deck in right field, shifted the momentum in this game. It was 5-0 at the time. Polanco hit a 3-run shot. Lewis followed with a solo homer. Alvarez countered with a solo shot of his own to make it 6-4. 1-1.
You asked Waino. You asked me 3-1. Julian swung at a pitch. It was probably a strike.
Yeah, strike.
But right there, it's 1-0. Polanco can't swing at that pitch. It's a curveball in the dirt. You've got to know, hey, I got to get on base. Why am I swinging at a 1-0 curveball in the dirt? I know we get fooled, but that's almost being too aggressive.
When you're pitching against Polanco and he's got those eyes looking out at you, you're thinking, "What? This guy can see through what I'm doing right now." Watch his intensity, his focus right here as he's looking the pitcher.
Presley to Polanco, 2-1. 2-2. Just staying alive. Fights off that curveball.
And that curveball is, like I said, the spin rate is super high. When that pitch is coming towards the catcher's mitt, it's got a second gear as it's going to be caught. It speeds up on you almost when you're going to catch it.
2-2. He struck him out.
Here's the second gear curveball. Thing just goes straight down. Starts off as a strike, ends up below the strike zone, and that has been Presley's bread and butter since he's come over to Houston.
Down to their final out, Royce Lewis trying to keep the Twins going in game 1. 1-0. His 3rd postseason home run in his 3rd postseason game. Shades of Gary Gaetti in '87. There's that curveball that just floats high. 2-0 on Royce Lewis. Bagwell and Biggio looking on. Lewis flips it foul. 2-1.
Again, why do you swing 2-0 right there? I get it, but if he hits a home run, you're still down a run. You still got to get someone on base. I know that's kind of more the old school mentality, get someone on base, take, but Presley hasn't been exactly sharp with his pitches. He's fallen behind pretty much every guy here.
Wow. That kind of floated out of his hand and it dropped into the strike zone. The Twins are down to one more. He struck him out to finish off game one. It went from blowout to nail biter to a game one Houston win, their 10th consecutive opener victory in the League Division Series. Presley moves up the all-time postseason save charts. Verlander continues his run with the second most postseason wins. 2 home runs for Yordan Alvarez and a 6-4 Astros win, the opener.
Everybody that thought the Astros might be vulnerable this year, some old friends came back to play. Justin Verlander, 6 shutout. Yordan Alvarez, 2 home runs. Jose Altuve leads the game off with a home run. Vintage Astros from the last 6 to 7 years. Great pitching, timely hitting, and Astros winning in the LDS.
Yeah, it was a big win for the Astros, but also as the Twins, you know what? They fought back into that game. This was a great game. They showed they still got heart and hustle. They showed they could get back from any amount of deficit and fight, and they're going into tomorrow thinking, all right, we can beat this team. I really believe that.
They'll have their ace Pablo Lopez against Framber Valdez. A fabulous pitching matchup in game 2. The Astros have taken the series lead. For AJ, Adam, Tom, our great crew, Adam Amin sending it to Kevin Burkhardt and the guys in Los Angeles.